What if Padme turned to the dark side to save Anakin? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. The blaster bolt catches Obi-Wan in the shoulder. He spins, falls, his face twisted in shock and betrayal. Padme's hand is steady on the weapon. She just shot her friend. She just chose darkness. And she'd do it again. This is the moment everything changes. The moment a senator becomes a Sith. The moment love becomes something darker than anyone imagined. One shot, one choice, one woman willing to burn the galaxy to save the man she loves. But how did we get here? What drove the voice of reason to pull that trigger? And what happens when the monster you become to protect your family turns into something even you don't recognize? Rewind 30 seconds. Mustafar burns beneath Padmé's ship. Lava flows like rivers of fire. The air itself seems to scream. She's here for Anakin, her husband, the father of her unborn twins, the man who just slaughtered younglings in the Jedi Temple. The hyperspace tunnel collapses into streaks of stars as Padmé Amidala's ship drops out of light speed. Before her, Mustafar burns. Rivers of molten rock carve through obsidian mountains, while volcanic plumes choke the sky with ash and sulfur. Her hands tremble on the controls as she guides the ship down through the choking atmosphere. Every instinct screams at her to turn back, to run, to find somewhere safe for the children growing inside her. But she can't. Not while Anakin is down there. Not while Obi-Wan wants to kill him. She presses a hand to her stomach. Feeling the slight swell beneath her traveling robes, the twins have been kicking more frequently, as if they can sense her distress. "I'm doing this for you," she thinks. "For all of us. The Republic has fallen. The Jedi have failed. If we don't have each other, we have nothing." The ship's sensors scream warnings about the heat, the toxic atmosphere, the instability of the landing platforms. Padmé ignores them all. She's been ignoring warnings her entire life. Warnings that a 14-year-old girl couldn't be queen. Warnings that she couldn't fight a Trade Federation blockade. Warnings that she shouldn't fall in love with a Jedi. Every time, she proved them wrong. This time will be no different. As the landing ramp descends, the heat hits her like a physical blow. Even through the ship's environmental controls, she can feel Mustafar's fury. The air shimmers and distorts. The metal platform beneath her feet radiates enough heat to be uncomfortable through her boots. But none of that matters when she sees him. Anakin stands at the edge of the platform, his dark robes billowing in the superheated wind. When he turns to face her, her heart breaks. His eyes, those beautiful blue eyes that looked at her with such love, such hope, are now yellow and burning with something cold and terrible. But beneath that, she can still see him, still see the boy who built a protocol droid for his mother, the young man who confessed his love in a meadow on Naboo, the hero who fought to protect the Republic even as it betrayed him at every turn. Padmé. His voice is rough, strained. "You came. I knew you would understand." She wants to run to him, to throw her arms around him and pretend none of this is happening. But then she hears it, the sound of another ship's engines. Her ship. She spins around just in time to see Obi-Wan Kenobi emerge from the cargo hold. His expression, a mixture of sorrow and determination. His lightsaber is already in his hand, though not yet ignited. "No." The word comes out as a whisper, then a shout. "No, Obi-Wan. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know he was there. But Anakin isn't listening. His face contorts with rage and betrayal. Emotions she can feel rippling through the Force, even though she has no training. It's like standing too close to a fire. You brought him here to kill me. After everything, after all we've been through, you chose them over me. Anakin, please. She steps forward, hands outstretched. I would never. I came here because I love you, because I believe in you. You have to believe me. But Obi-Wan is speaking now, his voice heavy with the weight of years of friendship turning to ash. You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you. I trained you. I trusted you with my life 1,000 times over. And this is how you repay that trust? By murdering children? By helping Palpatine destroy everything we fought to protect? Anakin's hand moves to his lightsaber. Then you should have trusted me when it mattered. You should have helped me save her. All of you, the Council, the Order, you stood there with your rules and your codes, while I watched my mother die in my arms. And now, you would let Padmé die too. I won't let that happen. I will never let that happen. The lightsaber ignites, but it's wrong. The blade that once burned blue, the color of hope and justice, now burns red, the color of rage and pain. Obi-Wan's face falls as his own weapon hums to life. If you will not turn back, then I have no choice. I will do what I must. You will try. The two men begin to circle each other, and Padmé realizes with growing horror that this is actually happening. These two men who love each other, who have fought side by side for years, are going to kill each other. And it's happening because of her. Because Anakin's fear of losing her drove him to this. Because the Jedi's rules prevented them from helping him when he needed it most. Because the Republic they all served was rotten to its core. The first clash of lightsabers is like thunder. Anakin attacks with brutal efficiency, his style aggressive and overwhelming. Each strike is meant to kill, to end the fight as quickly as possible. But Obi-Wan is ready. He's always been ready. His defensive form, Soresu, is perfect for this. He doesn't try to match Anakin's power. Instead, he deflects, redirects, lets Anakin's own momentum work against him. They've sparred together countless times. Each knows the other's style intimately. But this isn't sparring. This is a fight to the death. Anakin unleashes a series of powerful overhead strikes, trying to batter through Obi-Wan's defense. The older Jedi gives ground, his feet finding purchase on the scorching metal as he backs toward the edge of the platform. Padmé watches, frozen, as the two men she cares most about in the galaxy try to murder each other. She can see Anakin's technique degrading as his rage builds. His strikes become wilder, less controlled. He's letting his emotions fuel him, and it's making him sloppy. Obi-Wan sees it too. He's waiting for the opening, for the moment when Anakin overextends. And then, it happens. Anakin raises his lightsaber high for a devastating strike, and Obi-Wan doesn't block. Instead, he sidesteps and brings his blade around in a smooth arc, aimed directly at Anakin's neck. Time seems to slow. Padmé sees the trajectory of the blade, sees that Anakin is too committed to his own attack to defend, sees that in another second, the man she loves will die. And something inside her breaks. She's never been trained in the Force. The Jedi tested her as a child and found her midichlorian count average, unremarkable. But in this moment, with her husband's life hanging in the balance, something awakens. She doesn't think, she just acts. Her hand shoots to the blaster holstered at her hip, a weapon she's carried since her days as queen but rarely had to use. She draws, aims, and fires in one smooth motion. The bolt catches Obi-Wan in the shoulder, spinning him around. His lightsaber veers off course, missing Anakin by centimeters. Both men freeze, staring at her. Obi-Wan's face is a portrait of absolute betrayal and shock. "Padmé, what are you doing?" His voice cracks on her name, and she can hear years of friendship and respect shattering. Her hand is steady on the blaster now, aimed at his chest. "I'm saving my family. Obi-Wan, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But I won't let you kill him. I can't." Anakin uses the distraction to unleash a wave of Force energy that sends Obi-Wan skidding backward across the platform. His boots leave glowing trails in the superheated metal. Anakin advances on him, lightsaber raised. And Padmé knows he's going to kill Obi-Wan, going to murder his friend, his brother, his teacher. And she knows that once that happens, there's no going back. But before Anakin can strike the killing blow, another presence arrives. A shuttle descends through the smoke and ash, its ramp lowering before it even touches down. And from it emerges the one person Padmé has learned to hate more than anyone in the galaxy. Emperor Palpatine. He looks exactly as he did in the Senate chambers. His face hidden beneath a dark hood, his hands clasped before him, in a gesture that might seem peaceful if you didn't know better. But Padmé knows better. She's watched this man manipulate the Senate for years. Watched him amass power through crisis after manufactured crisis. She's suspected his involvement in the war, suspected that his rise to power was too convenient, too perfectly timed. And now, seeing him here on Mustafar, in this moment, she knows the truth. This man orchestrated everything. The war, the fall of the Jedi, Anakin's corruption, all of it. "Ah, young Skywalker." Palpatine's voice is smooth, almost grandfatherly. "And Senator Amidala, how delightful to see you both working together. I must admit, I did not expect the good senator to take such decisive action. But I am pleased. You have potential, my dear. More than you know." Padmé levels her blaster at him, though she knows it's useless. "You did this. All of this. The war, the clones, everything. You manipulated us all. Did I?" His tone is amused. "Or did I simply reveal the truth that the Jedi were too blind to see? The Republic was failing long before I came to power, Senator. It was corrupt, inefficient, paralyzed by bureaucracy and special interests. I merely accelerated its natural end and gave it the strong leadership it desperately needed. You used Anakin. You preyed on his fears, twisted his love for me into something dark." The Emperor's smile widens. Though she can't see it beneath his hood, she can hear it in his voice. "I gave young Skywalker the tools to save you, the power to prevent the future he saw in his nightmares. The Jedi would have let you die rather than break their precious code. I offered him a choice. He chose you. Is that not what you wanted? The words hit her like physical blows, because they're true. She did want Anakin to choose her. She wanted him to put their love, their future, above the Jedi Order's restrictions. But not like this. Never like this. Obi-Wan struggles to his feet, clutching his wounded shoulder. The blast cauterized the wound, but she can see the pain in his eyes. And not just physical pain. The emotional agony of watching his former Padawan fall, of being shot by someone he considered a friend. Palpatine. His voice is hard. I should have seen it years ago. The way you manipulated the Senate, the convenient timing of every crisis. You're the Sith Lord we've been searching for. Darth Sidious, at your service. The Emperor gives a mocking bow, though I prefer my new title. It has a certain authority to it, don't you think? And speaking of authority, I sense something interesting about you, Senator Amidala. You have power, raw, untrained, but undeniably present. Tell me, how did it feel when you pulled that trigger? When you used the Force to guide your shot? Padmé's blood runs cold. I didn't. I don't have the Force. The Jedi tested me. Don't lie to yourself, my dear. You felt it. The certainty that your shot would land exactly where you needed it to. The connection to your weapon, to your target, to the very air around you. That was the Force responding to your desperation, to your love, and it was magnificent. He takes a step closer, and Padmé fights the urge to back away. Anakin moves to her side, his presence protective. His former master lies broken before you. The Republic you served has fallen. The Jedi Order is extinct. You have nowhere left to turn, except to us. Join me, Senator. Let me teach you to harness that power you just touched. Together, the three of us can bring true order to the galaxy. Not the false democracy that allowed corruption to flourish, but actual peace, actual justice, actual security. Anakin looks at her, and in his yellow eyes, she sees hope mixed with fear. Hope that she'll join him in this new path. Fear that she'll reject him. Padmé, please. I know this isn't what we planned. I know I've done terrible things, but we can make it right. We can build something better together. You, me, and our child. Obi-Wan tries to speak, to argue, but his voice is weak. Padmé, don't listen to them. This is the dark side speaking. It will consume you like it's consumed Anakin. There's still time to turn back. For both of you. But Padmé isn't listening to Obi-Wan anymore. She's thinking about the Republic she served. The Senate sessions where corporate interests overruled humanitarian concerns. The bureaucracy that let entire planets suffer while committees debated jurisdiction. The corruption that allowed slavery to persist on worlds the Republic claimed to protect. She's thinking about the Jedi Order that forbade love, that would have forced Anakin to choose between his duty and his heart. That tested children and discarded those who didn't measure up to their arbitrary standards. And she's thinking about the future, about the children growing inside her, about the galaxy they'll inherit. She can stay loyal to the Republic and the Jedi, institutions that have already failed. She can watch Anakin die here on Mustafar, cut down by the man who was supposed to be his brother. She can raise her children alone in a galaxy ruled by an emperor who will see them as threats to be eliminated. Or she can adapt. She can take this power Palpatine is offering and use it to protect her family. She can learn to survive in this new reality and find a way to shape it from within. It's not the choice she wanted. It's not the choice she would have made a year ago or even a month ago. But sometimes, survival requires flexibility. Sometimes, you have to become something you never imagined in order to protect what matters most. She looks at Obi-Wan, and she can see him reading her decision in her eyes. His face crumples with despair. Padmé, no, please, don't do this. You're better than this. I thought I was, she says quietly. I thought I could change the galaxy through diplomacy and speeches, through democracy and the rule of law. But the galaxy doesn't reward idealism, Obi-Wan. It rewards power. And right now, my family needs me to be powerful more than it needs me to be right. She turns to Palpatine and sees his smile widen with triumph. Teach me. Show me how to protect them. Show me how to make sure no one can ever threaten my family again. The Emperor extends his withered hand, and Padmé takes it. His skin is cold, reptilian, but his grip is strong. The moment their hands touch, she feels it. A rush of energy, dark and seductive, flowing through her. It's like every emotion she's ever suppressed, every moment of anger and fear and desperation, suddenly becomes fuel. Power floods through her veins. And for the first time since this nightmare began, she feels like she has some measure of control. Excellent, Palpatine purrs. You have made the wise choice, my dear. Come, we have much work to do. Lord Vader, ensure our Jedi friend doesn't follow us. But don't kill him. Not yet. Let him live with his failure. Let him return to his broken order and tell them how he lost both his apprentice and his friend to the dark side. It will be instructive. Anakin advances on Obi-Wan, who struggles to ignite his lightsaber with his wounded arm. But Padmé stops Anakin with a hand on his chest. Wait, let me. She approaches Obi-Wan, and she can see the hope flickering in his eyes. Hope that she's changed her mind, that she's going to help him. Instead, she raises her hand, mimicking the gesture she's seen Jedi make 1,000 times. She doesn't know what she's doing, has no training or technique, but the Force responds to her will. Obi-Wan lifts off the ground, gasping as invisible pressure closes around his throat. I'm sorry, she says, and she means it. You were a good friend, but you chose the Jedi over Anakin, and I choose Anakin over everything. She releases him, and he drops to the platform, coughing and clutching his throat. Anakin pulls her close, and together they walk toward Palpatine's shuttle. Behind them, Obi-Wan's broken voice echoes across Mustafar. You were my friend, Padmé. I trusted you. Padmé doesn't look back. She can't. If she looks back, she might see the woman she used to be, lying dead on the platform alongside her ideals. The shuttle lifts off, leaving Obi-Wan alone on the landing platform as Mustafar burns around him. Inside the shuttle, Palpatine is already planning. We'll take you to Vyun. It's remote, powerful in the dark side, perfect for your initial training. You'll need to learn quickly, my dear. The skills that take Jedi years to master, you must acquire in weeks. But I sense your determination. Your love makes you strong. We'll harness that. Padmé sits beside Anakin, their hands intertwined. She can feel the darkness in him, roiling and unstable. But she can also feel his love for her, burning like a beacon through the shadows. That's what she'll hold on to. That's what will keep her from losing herself completely. Anakin leans close, his voice barely a whisper.
You really meant it? You choose me?
Always, she whispers back. In this life and the next. No matter what we become, no matter what we have to do, we face it together. He kisses her then, and for a moment, the darkness recedes. For a moment, they're just Anakin and Padmé again. Two people who fell in love against impossible odds. But the moment passes, and reality returns. They're no longer just Anakin and Padmé. They're apprentices to the most powerful Sith Lord in the galaxy. And their training is about to begin. The journey to Vyun takes several days through hyperspace. Padmé spends the time trying to process what she's done, what she's become. She shot Obi-Wan. She nearly killed him. She felt the dark side flow through her when she lifted him with the Force. And the worst part? It felt good. It felt powerful. She's always been powerless, she realizes. Oh, she had titles and positions. Queen, senator, leader of the opposition. But when it came down to it, she couldn't stop the war, couldn't prevent the Republic's fall, couldn't save Anakin from Palpatine's manipulation. She was always reacting, always trying to hold together something that was already broken. But now she has real power. Power to act instead of react. Power to shape events instead of being shaped by them. It's intoxicating and terrifying in equal measure. Anakin stays close to her throughout the journey. She can feel his concern, his need to make sure she doesn't regret her decision. He brings her food when she forgets to eat, holds her when nightmares wake her in the middle of the ship's night cycle. He's attentive in a way he hasn't been since the war started, as if her joining him has lifted some massive weight from his shoulders. "Are you afraid?" he asks her one night as they stand in the shuttle's observation deck, watching the stars streak past. "Yes," she admits. "I'm afraid of what I'm becoming. What we're becoming, but I'm more afraid of losing you, of losing our child. If becoming a monster is the price of keeping you safe, I'll pay it." He pulls her close, and she can feel his heart beating against her back. "I've been so alone in this darkness. Even when I made my choice, part of me wondered if I was wrong, if I'd made a terrible mistake. But having you here, knowing you understand, it changes everything." "But do I understand?" she wonders. "Do I really understand what I've signed up for?" She knows Anakin has killed. She saw the recordings of the Jedi Temple, saw what he did to the younglings. Part of her wants to ask him about it, to understand how the man she loves could do something so monstrous. But she's afraid of the answer, afraid he'll tell her it was necessary, or worse, that he enjoyed it. The shuttle finally drops out of hyperspace above Vyun, and Padmé's first thought is that this world is dead. The planet is shrouded in storm clouds that crackle with green lightning. The surface is a twisted wasteland of bare rock and acidic rain. There are no cities visible from orbit, no signs of civilization, just a single fortress, black and angular, rising from the devastation like a monument to despair. "This is where we'll train?" she asks, trying to keep the dismay from her voice. "This is where you'll become powerful," Palpatine corrects. Vune is strong in the dark side. The planet itself is a wound in the Force, created by centuries of Sith occupation. The pain and suffering that occurred here has seeped into the very rocks, the very air. It will amplify your emotions, make it easier to touch the darkness, and it will be uncomfortable. But discomfort breeds strength. The fortress is even more oppressive on the inside. The walls are made of black stone that seems to absorb light. The corridors are narrow and twisting, designed to disorient. And everywhere, Padmé can feel eyes watching her. Not physical eyes, but something else. The lingering presence of everyone who suffered and died here. It's like the fortress itself is alive and malevolent. Her quarters are surprisingly spacious, though no less oppressive. The walls are bare black stone. The furniture is minimal and functional. There's a meditation chamber, a refresher, and a sleeping area with a large bed. Anakin's quarters are connected to hers through an adjoining door. Small comfort, but comfort nonetheless. You'll begin your training at dawn, Palpatine tells her. Lord Vader will continue his own studies. In time, you'll train together. But first, you must learn the basics. How to channel the dark side. How to let your emotions fuel you rather than control you. How to take your anger, your fear, your love, and transform them into power. What if I can't? She asks. What if I don't have enough power? Everyone has the potential for power, Senator. The only question is whether they have the will to seize it. You've already proven you do. Now you must prove you can master it. That night, Padmé lies in bed, unable to sleep. Her body is exhausted, but her mind races with everything that's happened. 3 days ago, she was a senator, working to oppose Palpatine's emergency powers. Now she's his apprentice, preparing to learn the dark side. The change is so dramatic, so complete, that it doesn't feel real, but it is real. She made a choice on Mustafar, and now she has to live with it. She places a hand on her stomach, feeling the twins moving inside her. They're active tonight, as if they can sense her turmoil. I'm doing this for you, she thinks. Whatever I become, whatever darkness I embrace, it's to make sure you're safe, to make sure you grow up in a world where no one can hurt you. She doesn't know if that makes her a good mother or a monster. Maybe both. The next morning, her training begins in earnest. Palpatine leads her to a large chamber deep within the fortress. The room is circular, with a domed ceiling that amplifies sound. In the center is a single meditation platform, surrounded by candles that burn with black flames. This is where you'll learn to touch the Force, Palpatine says. Not as the Jedi do, through peace and meditation, but as the Sith do, through passion and power. Sit. She sits cross-legged on the platform, her pregnant belly making the position awkward. Close your eyes. Feel the darkness around you. Don't fight it. Don't try to find calm or serenity. Instead, embrace your emotions. Your anger at the Republic for failing you. Your fear of losing Anakin. Your love for your unborn child. Let those feelings fill you. Padmé tries to do as he says, but it's harder than it sounds. She's spent her entire life controlling her emotions, presenting a calm and rational facade to the galaxy. Now she's being told to do the opposite, to let her emotions run wild, to use them as fuel. Think about the Jedi. Palpatine's voice is hypnotic, compelling, how they tested you as a child and found you wanting, how they took Anakin from his mother and trained him to suppress his feelings, how they forbade him from loving you, from having any life outside their order. Feel the anger at their arrogance, their hypocrisy. Padmé feels it. The anger rises in her chest like bile. She remembers being 9 years old, watching the Jedi Master test her blood and shake his head. Not strong enough, not special enough. She remembers Anakin telling her about the Jedi Code, about how attachment was forbidden. She remembers watching him torn between his duty and his love, seeing the pain it caused him. Good, Palpatine says. Now hold that anger. Channel it. Let it flow through you. She tries, and for a moment, she feels something. A tingling sensation in her fingertips, a warmth spreading through her chest. But then it slips away, and she's left with nothing but frustration.
I can't,
she gasps.
it's too hard.
Nothing worth having comes easily, Senator. Again, they repeat the exercise for hours. Each time, Padmé touches the Force for a brief moment before losing it. Each time, the frustration builds. By midday, she's exhausted and on the verge of tears. Her pregnancy makes everything harder. The hormones, the physical discomfort, the constant awareness that she's not just training herself, but exposing her unborn children to the dark side. What if this hurts them? What if channeling darkness while they're inside her corrupts them somehow? Enough, Palpatine finally says. You've made progress, though you cannot see it yet. Rest. Eat. We'll continue this evening. Padmé stumbles back to her quarters and finds Anakin waiting for her. He takes one look at her exhausted face and pulls her into his arms. How was it? Harder than I expected. How did you learn so quickly? I've been training with the Force since I was 9. You're starting from scratch. But you'll get there. I know you will. You're the strongest person I've ever met. She wants to believe him, but doubt gnaws at her. What if she can't do this? What if she made a terrible mistake? Anakin seems to sense her thoughts. He guides her to the bed and has her lie down, then begins massaging her feet. You chose this path to protect us, he says softly. To protect our family. That takes more strength than anything the Jedi ever did. They ran from attachments. You're fighting for yours. That makes you stronger than any of them. She closes her eyes and lets his words wash over her. He's right. She's not doing this for power or ambition. She's doing this for love. And love, she's learning, can be the darkest motivation of all. That evening, she returns to the meditation chamber. Palpatine is waiting. And this time, he has her practice something different. Moving objects with the Force. He places a small metal sphere on the ground in front of her. Lift it, he commands. Use your emotions, your determination, your will. Padmé stares at the sphere, trying to remember how she felt on Mustafar when she lifted Obi-Wan. The desperation, the absolute need for him to stop, to get away from Anakin. She reaches for that feeling now, but it's not the same. There's no immediate danger, no life or death stakes, just a metal sphere that refuses to move. You're thinking too much, Palpatine chides. Stop trying to be rational. Stop trying to understand. Just feel. She tries again, and this time she thinks about the children, about Luke and Leia. Though she doesn't have names for them yet, she thinks about all the threats they'll face in their lives, the Empire that will hunt them if they show Force sensitivity, the enemies who will try to use them against her and Anakin, the simple, random cruelties of a galaxy at war. She thinks about how helpless she'll be if she can't protect them. And the sphere trembles. It's barely perceptible, just a tiny movement, but it's something. Yes, Palpatine hisses. More. Give in to it. Padmé pushes harder, letting her fear and desperation build. The sphere rises a few centimeters off the ground, wobbling in the air. Sweat beads on her forehead from the effort. Every muscle in her body is tense. And then it drops, clattering against the stone floor. Progress, Palpatine says. And he actually sounds pleased. You touched the Force and bent it to your will. Do it again. They work through the night. By dawn, Padmé can lift the sphere reliably, though never for more than a few seconds and never higher than a meter. Her body aches with exhaustion. Her Force abilities might be growing, but her pregnant body still needs rest. Over the following weeks, the training intensifies. Palpatine teaches her to sense emotions in others, to influence weak minds, to channel Force energy into physical attacks. He teaches her the philosophy of the Sith, the idea that peace is a lie, and that through passion, she gains strength. Through strength, she gains power. Through power, she gains victory. Through victory, her chains are broken. The Force shall free her. It's intoxicating, this power. She can feel herself growing stronger each day. Tasks that seemed impossible at the start become easier. Lifting objects, sensing presences, pushing her will onto others. But there's a cost. She can feel the darkness seeping into her, changing her. She's quicker to anger now, more impatient, less willing to compromise or see other perspectives. The idealistic young queen who believed in democracy and justice feels like a distant memory. In her place is someone harder, colder, more pragmatic, someone willing to do whatever it takes to protect what's hers. Anakin trains alongside her, though his lessons are different. He's already powerful in the Force, but his technique is raw and undisciplined. Palpatine works to refine his abilities, to channel his rage into something more controlled and deadly. They train together in the evenings, sparring with lightsabers in the fortress's training hall. At first, Anakin holds back, afraid of hurting her or the babies. But Padmé insists he fight her seriously. She needs to know she can defend herself. Their duels are intense, brutal affairs. Anakin is faster and stronger. His connection to the Force vastly superior. But Padmé is learning to be cunning. She uses the environment, creates distractions, exploits openings. She learns that she can't match Anakin's power, so she has to be smarter, more strategic. And slowly, painfully, she improves. One evening, after a particularly grueling sparring session, they sit together in her quarters. Anakin is cleaning his lightsaber, and Padmé is examining the components of her own weapon, which she's been building under Palpatine's guidance. "Do you ever regret it?" she asks. "What we've become?" Anakin is quiet for a long moment. "Every day," he finally says, "I dream about the Jedi Temple, about the younglings. Their faces haunt me, but then I wake up and see you. And I remember why I did it. Would I make the same choice again? Yes, every time. Because a galaxy without you isn't worth protecting. She reaches for his hand, and they sit in silence. Two people bound together by love and darkness. The months pass. Padmé's pregnancy progresses, her belly swelling as the twins grow. The fortress's medical droids monitor her closely, reporting to Palpatine. He seems fascinated by the idea of Force-sensitive children being exposed to the dark side from before birth. He speculates that they might be more powerful because of it. Their connection to darkness established before they even draw breath. The thought terrifies and exhilarates Padmé in equal measure. Her training continues right up until labor begins. She's in the meditation chamber, practicing Force lightning. When the first contraction hits, it's like being torn apart from the inside. She gasps and doubles over, clutching her stomach. Anakin is there instantly, having sensed her distress through their bond. "It's time," she pants. "The babies are coming." They rush to the medical bay, where the droids are already preparing. Palpatine arrives as well, his presence oppressive and unwelcome. Padmé wants to scream at him to leave, that this is a private moment, but she's in too much pain to form words. The labor is long and agonizing. The medical droids assure her that everything is progressing normally, but normal doesn't make it hurt any less. Anakin stays by her side the entire time, holding her hand, offering what comfort he can. She squeezes so hard, she feels bones creak, but he doesn't complain. And then, after what feels like an eternity, she hears it. The sound of a baby crying. "A boy," the medical droid announces. "Healthy and strong. Luke." The name comes to her instantly. Luke Skywalker. The medical droid places the infant in her arms, and Padmé's breath catches. He's perfect, tiny and red-faced and screaming, but perfect. She can see Anakin in the shape of his face, can see herself in his eyes, and she can feel his presence in the Force. Bright and burning like a star. Minutes later, the second baby arrives. A girl, just as perfect, just as strong. "Leia," Padmé whispers. Her name is Leia. She holds both of her children, one in each arm, and for the first time since Mustafar, she feels something other than darkness. She feels hope. These two tiny lives, born into a galaxy of war and tyranny, represent possibility. They're proof that something good can still exist, even in the darkest times. Anakin touches each baby's forehead gently, wonder and fear warring in his expression. "They're beautiful. They're perfect. We have to protect them, Padmé. No matter what. I know. That's why I need you to trust me. Whatever I do, whatever choices I make, they're all for them." He meets her eyes, and she sees understanding there. "What are you planning?" "Later. We'll talk later. Right now, just be here with us, with our family." Palpatine approaches, and Padmé instinctively holds the twins closer. "May I?" he asks, reaching for Luke. Every fiber of her being screams no. But she's his apprentice, and she can't afford to refuse. She hands Luke over, watching like a hawk as the Emperor examines her son. Strong in the Force, Palpatine observes. Both of them, they'll be powerful. in time. Perhaps even more powerful than their parents. You should be proud, my dear. You've given birth to the future of the Sith. The words send a chill down Padmé's spine. She takes Luke back as soon as she can, holding both twins close. Over my dead body, she thinks. You'll never have them. I'll make sure of that. The medical droids want her to rest. But Padmé refuses to let the twins out of her sight. She lies in the medical bay's recovery room, one baby on each side, and simply watches them sleep. They're so small, so vulnerable. The galaxy will eat them alive if she's not careful. Anakin eventually falls asleep in a chair beside the bed, exhausted from the emotional strain. But Padmé stays awake, planning. She's spent months learning to be a Sith, learning to embrace the darkness. But she's never stopped being Padmé Amidala, master strategist and politician. And right now, she's forming the most important strategy of her life: how to protect her children from the Emperor while maintaining the power to keep them safe. The answer, she realizes, is to hide them. Not forever, and not both in the same place. She'll need help, and there's only one person she trusts outside the Sith, Bail Organa. A few days later, when she's recovered enough to move around, she contacts him on a secure channel she established years ago during her time in the Senate. The conversation is brief and painful. Bail, I need your help. Padmé. His face appears on the holoscreen, aged by the stress of the Empire's rise. I heard you were on Mustafar with him. The Jedi think you're dead, or worse. I'm worse. I've joined Anakin. I've become what he is. But I need you to understand, I had no choice. There's always a choice, not when the alternative is watching everyone you love die. Bail, please. I don't have time to explain everything. I need you to take my daughter, to raise her on Alderaan. Keep her safe. Keep her hidden from the Empire, from Palpatine. He's silent for a long moment. You're asking me to commit treason. I'm asking you to save a child's life. She'll be in danger every day she stays with me. Palpatine wants to train her, to corrupt her. I won't let that happen. What about the other one? You said daughter, plural. Luke stays with me. 2 children, 2 hiding places. If one is discovered, the other remains safe. And if something happens to us, to me and Anakin, they'll have each other eventually. They deserve to know they're not alone. Bail closes his eyes, his face a mask of pain. You're asking me to lie to my wife, to the Senate, to everyone. I'm asking you to be the good man. I know you are. One last time, for the memory of the Republic we both served. Please, Bail. He's silent for so long she thinks he'll refuse. Then he nods. Send me the coordinates. I'll come for her. But Padmé, this is the last favor I can do for you. After this, we're done. I can't be associated with what you've become. I understand. And Bail, thank you for everything. He cuts the transmission without responding. 2 days later, his ship arrives at a set of coordinates. Padmé transmitted, a small moon far from Imperial space. Padmé brings Leia, wrapped in a simple blanket, her heart breaking with every step. Bail's ship sits on the landing pad, its ramp already down. The man himself stands at the entrance, his expression grim. Padmé approaches slowly, memorizing every detail of Leia's face. Her daughter's eyes are open, staring up at her with infant curiosity. She doesn't understand what's happening, doesn't know that this is goodbye. Bail. Padmé's voice breaks as she hands Leia over. Take care of her. Raise her to be strong, to be kind, to be everything I can't be anymore. He takes the baby gently, his expression softening as he looks down at her. She'll be loved. I promise you that. She'll grow up safe on Alderaan. She'll never know want or fear. But will she know who she is? Someday, when it's safe. If that day ever comes. Padmé nods, blinking back tears. There's something else, a keepsake. She pulls out a small pendant, a Japer snippet that Anakin carved for her when they first met. It's been with her through everything, through her time as queen, as senator, through the war, and her fall. Give this to her when she's old enough. Tell her, it's from her mother, that I loved her enough to let her go. Bail tucks the pendant safely away. I will. And Padmé, for what it's worth, I'm sorry. Sorry for what? That things ended this way. That the Republic failed you. That you felt you had no other choice. Take care of yourself. She watches his ship lift off and disappear into hyperspace, taking her daughter with it. The pain is physical, a tearing sensation in her chest that leaves her gasping. But it's necessary. Leia will be safe on Alderaan. She'll grow up as a princess, privileged and protected, never knowing the darkness that claimed her parents. It's more than Padmé could give her. When she returns to Vyun, Anakin is waiting with Luke. He takes one look at her face and understands. You sent her away, to Alderaan. Bail will raise her. He's furious for a moment, his eyes flashing yellow. Then he looks down at Luke, sleeping peacefully in his arms, and the anger fades. You're right. One child here is risk enough. Two would be impossible to hide. She'll be safe there? As safe as anyone can be in this galaxy. He nods slowly, accepting her decision. They stand together, watching Luke sleep, each lost in their own thoughts about the daughter they sent away and the son they kept. The son who will grow up surrounded by darkness, who will learn the Force from Sith Lords. The son, they can only hope, stays uncorrupted despite everything. Palpatine doesn't question Leia's absence when he notices only one baby remains. Perhaps he assumes the other died during birth. Perhaps he doesn't care. Either way, Padmé's secret is safe. For now, the years that follow are a blur of violence and political maneuvering. Padmé and Anakin become the Emperor's most trusted enforcers. Where the Emperor's will needs to be done, they go. They hunt down the last remnants of the Jedi Order. They crush rebellions before they can gain momentum. They remove political opponents and install loyal Imperial governors across the galaxy. Padmé discovers she has a talent for the subtle aspects of the dark side. Mind tricks, manipulation, political intrigue. While Anakin is the hammer that breaks resistance through fear and power, she's the knife that slides between ribs silently and efficiently. They make a formidable team. Anakin inspires terror wherever he goes, his reputation as the Jedi killer preceding him. But Padmé, she inspires something more insidious: loyalty. She convinces planetary governors that the Empire is their best option. She turns rebels into informants. She creates networks of spies and operatives who answer to her alone, not to the Emperor. It's a dangerous game she's playing. Palpatine notices her growing influence, but seems amused by it rather than threatened. Perhaps he thinks she's too devoted to Anakin to ever truly challenge him. Perhaps he's right. Luke grows up in this world of darkness and power. Padmé does her best to shield him from the worst of it, but there's only so much she can hide. By the time he's 5, he's witnessed executions. By 7, he's training with a practice lightsaber. By 10, he can move objects with the Force and sense emotions in those around him. But something is different about Luke. Despite everything, despite the darkness surrounding him, he remains somehow untouched by it. He's kind to the servants in whatever fortress or ship they're occupying. He asks questions about right and wrong that make Padmé's heart ache. He has his father's power, but none of his father's rage. It's like he carries a light inside him that the darkness can't quite extinguish. "Where is my sister?" he asks one day, and Padmé's blood runs cold. "What makes you think you have a sister? I can feel her. Sometimes, when I'm dreaming, she's far away, but she's there. Is she like me?" "Yes," Padmé says carefully. "She's exactly like you, but she's somewhere safe, somewhere the Empire can't touch her. Will I ever meet her? Someday, when you're both older, when it's safe. I promise." She prays. That's a promise she can keep. Then, when Luke is approaching his 19th birthday, a report crosses Padmé's desk that changes everything. An Imperial facility on Tatooine has been destroyed. The perpetrator is described as a young man, strong in the Force, trained by a Jedi Master. The description matches Obi-Wan's style, and the age matches Luke. But Luke is here, on Vyun, which means Leia. Or no, that doesn't make sense either, unless there's a third Force-sensitive young person that she doesn't know about. But the coincidence is too great. The location is too specific. Tatooine, where Anakin grew up, where Obi-Wan might have hidden if he survived Mustafar. Padmé reads the report again, her hands trembling slightly. The attack on the facility was precise, surgical even. No unnecessary casualties among the enlisted personnel, but every officer above the rank of lieutenant was eliminated. The security footage, before it was destroyed, showed a figure in Jedi robes moving with incredible speed and grace. The combat style was unmistakably Soresu, Obi-Wan's preferred form, but there were elements of Ataru as well, the aggressive acrobatic style that Qui-Gon favored. Whoever this person was, they'd been trained by someone who knew both styles intimately. The facility's primary function had been processing Tibanna gas shipments from Bespin, a crucial resource for blaster production. Its destruction would set back Imperial weapons manufacturing by months, possibly years. This wasn't some random act of vandalism or terrorism. This was a strategic strike designed to weaken the Empire's military capacity. Someone was preparing for war, and that someone had Jedi training. She brings the report to Anakin, finding him in the training hall where he's instructing Luke in advanced lightsaber techniques. Father and son move in perfect synchronization, their blades weaving patterns of light in the dim chamber. Watching them, Padmé is struck by how similar they are. The same intensity, the same raw power barely contained. But Luke has something Anakin lost years ago. Restraint, compassion, the ability to stop before going too far. "Anakin, we need to talk. It's important." He deactivates his lightsaber and turns to her, immediately reading the concern on her face. Luke, continue practicing Form 5. Focus on maintaining your guard during aggressive sequences. Yes, Father. Once they're alone in the adjacent corridor, Padmé hands him the datapad. Anakin's face darkens as he reads, his jaw clenching. Tatooine. Of all the worlds in the galaxy, it had to be Tatooine. You think it's him? I know it's him. That's Obi-Wan's work all over it. Precise. Minimal casualties. Strategic importance. And the timing, it's not coincidental. He's been preparing for this, building his strength, training someone. She watches him carefully, gauging his reaction. And if he's training someone, who could it be? There are no Jedi left except the ones we've already accounted for. Unless his eyes meet hers, and she sees understanding dawn, Leia. But how would he even know about her? We hid her on Alderaan. Bail would never betray us. Maybe he didn't have to. Maybe Obi-Wan sensed her through the Force. Or maybe something happened on Alderaan that forced her to reveal herself. Anakin is pacing now, his anger building. She can feel it rippling through the Force, affecting the temperature in the corridor. We need to go there. We need to find out who this is and deal with them before the Emperor hears about it. If Palpatine discovers we have a daughter we've been hiding, he'll kill her. Padmé finishes. Or worse, he'll try to corrupt her, turn her into a weapon against us. We can't let that happen. What about Luke? We bring him. If this is Leia, if we're finally reuniting our family, he deserves to be there. And if it's not, then we deal with the threat together. As a family, they make preparations quickly and quietly. Padmé arranges for their absence to be explained as a routine inspection tour of Outer Rim territories. She falsifies reports, creates false trails, does everything she can to keep Palpatine's attention elsewhere. The Emperor has grown more paranoid over the years, more suspicious of his apprentice's activities. She's learned to work around his surveillance, but it requires constant vigilance. Luke is excited when they tell him about the mission, though he doesn't fully understand its significance. A mission with both of you? Together? That hasn't happened in years. We thought it was time, Anakin says carefully. And there's someone we might encounter that you need to meet. Who? Your sister. Luke's eyes widen. The connection I've felt in my dreams. She's real? She's real. We hid her after you were born, kept her safe on Alderaan, but we think she might be on Tatooine now, might be the one behind these attacks. We need to find her before the Empire does. I have a sister, Luke says wonderingly. A twin. I knew it. I always knew there was something missing, someone who should be there. What's her name? Leia. Leia Organa. The journey to Tatooine takes 3 days through hyperspace. Padmé spends the time meditating, trying to prepare herself for what's coming. She's going to see Obi-Wan again, the man whose betrayed expression has haunted her dreams for 19 years, the man who watched her fall to darkness and couldn't stop her. What will he see when he looks at her now? Will he see any trace of the woman he once called friend and Leia, her daughter, the child she gave away to keep safe? What has Bail told her about her birth parents? Does she know the truth? Or has she been fed a comfortable lie? Does she hate them for abandoning her? Or does she understand it was the only way to protect her? Anakin is equally tense, spending hours in the ship's cargo hold, dismantling and reassembling his lightsaber over and over. It's a nervous habit he developed during the Clone Wars, something he does when he needs to think. Padmé finds him there on the second night, surrounded by components.
Talk to me,
She says softly.
What if she hates us? What if we finally find our daughter and she wants nothing to do with us?
Then we accept it. We made our choices 19 years ago. We don't get to demand forgiveness now, but Anakin, if she is on Tatooine, if Obi-Wan has told her the truth about what we've done, we need to be prepared for her to see us as enemies. I can't fight my own daughter. I won't. I'm not asking you to, but we might need to defend ourselves, and we absolutely need to keep her away from the Emperor, whatever it takes. Luke joins them, sensing their distress through the Force. Are you worried about meeting her? Yes, Padmé admits. Terrified, actually. Why? Because we're not the people we wish we could be. We've done terrible things, Luke. Things that, when you're older, when you understand the full scope of it, you might not be able to forgive. We've told ourselves it was necessary, that we were protecting you and your sister. But the truth is, we chose our family over the galaxy, and countless people suffered for it. That doesn't make you monsters, Luke says with the certainty of youth. That makes you human. You loved us enough to do whatever it took to keep us safe. How can that be wrong? Because love without wisdom is just another form of selfishness, Padmé says. We loved you so much that we were willing to let others die. That's not noble. That's not heroic. That's just human weakness on a galactic scale. Luke is quiet, processing this. Then he asks the question that cuts to the heart of everything. If you could go back, would you make the same choices? Padmé looks at Anakin, and they both know the answer. Yes, every time. That's what makes it so damning. We know it was wrong, but we do it again anyway. Luke nods slowly. Then I guess we'll have to live with that. And hope Leia can too. They arrive at Tatooine under the cover of Tatooine's twin suns, their ship configured to emit minimal sensor signature. The desert world spreads out below them. Endless dunes of sand broken by rocky outcroppings and scattered settlements. Padmé hasn't been here since she came to free Anakin's mother all those years ago. The memory of Shmi's death, of Anakin's rage and grief, still haunts her. This world has taken so much from them. She prays, it won't take more. Anakin's hands are white-knuckled on the controls. I hate this place. I've always hated it. The sand, the heat, the memories. Let's find them quickly and get out of here. Padmé reaches out with the Force, searching for the presence described in the report. It takes time. The Force is strange here on Tatooine, muted and difficult to read. The desert seems to absorb everything, swallowing sound and light, and even Force signatures. But then, she feels it, a bright presence, burning like a beacon in the darkness. Strong, disciplined, focused, definitely Jedi trained. And next to it, another presence, older, more refined, layered with years of experience and sorrow. There, she points to the Jundland wastes. That's where they are. How can you be sure? Because I recognize one of those signatures. It's Obi-Wan. And the other? Anakin closes his eyes, extending his own senses. His face goes pale. The other feels like us, like Luke. That's her. That's our daughter. They land the ship in a canyon several kilometers from the signatures, approaching the rest of the way on foot. The heat is oppressive, the sand finding its way into everything despite their protective gear. Luke is fascinated by the environment, having spent his entire life on worlds with more temperate climates. Is this where you grew up, Father? In Mos Espa, a slave settlement on the other side of the planet. The conditions were harsh. I don't like thinking about it. But you escaped. Mother freed you. Yes, your mother has always been my salvation, even when I didn't deserve it. They reach the edge of a natural amphitheater carved into the sandstone by millennia of wind and rare flash floods. And there, in the center, two figures are engaged in a training duel. Obi-Wan Kenobi looks old. That's Padmé's first thought. The man she remembers was relatively young, vigorous, always moving with confident grace. This man's hair is completely white, his face deeply lined. He moves more slowly, more carefully, conserving his energy. But his technique is still flawless, his defense still impenetrable, and his opponent. Padmé's breath catches. Leia is beautiful. She has Padmé's face, her father's eyes, and something entirely her own: determination, fire. She attacks with controlled aggression, her yellow-bladed lightsaber weaving complex patterns. The style is primarily Ataru, Qui-Gon's form, but with elements of Soresu defensive sequences. She's been well-trained, very well-trained. And she's strong in the Force. Padmé can feel it even from this distance. Her daughter's power rivals Luke's, perhaps even exceeds it in raw potential. Luke stands beside her, transfixed. That's her. I can feel it. We're connected. She's my other half. The sparring session continues for several more minutes before Obi-Wan calls a halt. Enough. You're letting your emotions guide your attacks too much. Focus on precision over power. I am focused, Leia protests. I'm just tired of defensive drills. When do I get to actually fight? When you're ready, which you won't be if you don't master the basics. Now, again, this time, wait for my overextension before you. He stops mid-sentence, his head snapping toward their hiding spot. We have visitors. Show yourselves. There's no point in hiding now. Padmé, Anakin, and Luke emerge from behind the rocks. Obi-Wan's face cycles through shock, anger, and resignation. His hand moves to his lightsaber, and his voice is hard. I should have known you'd find us eventually. After all these years, you couldn't leave well enough alone. Leia's eyes dart between the three newcomers, her own weapon igniting. Who are they, Ben? That, my dear, is Darth Vader, Lady Shadow, and their son, Luke, though you might know them better as Anakin Skywalker, Padmé Amidala, and your twin brother. The words hit like physical blows. Leia's face goes white, then red. Her lightsaber wavers. No, you're lying. They're dead. Bail said they died in the Purge. I know what Bail told you, Obi-Wan says gently. He was trying to protect you, but these are your biological parents, the ones who gave you away and chose darkness. Leia stares at them, and Padmé can see her daughter's mind racing, trying to process this revelation. Luke takes a hesitant step forward. Leia, I'm Luke. We're twins. I felt you my whole life. In my dreams, in quiet moments, I always knew something was missing. Someone who should be there. Stay back. Leia raises her lightsaber defensively. I don't know you. I don't know any of you. We're not here to hurt you, Padmé says, her voice breaking slightly. We're here because we heard about the facility. We were worried that the Emperor would find out about you, that he'd come after you. Why would you care? According to Ben, you've spent 19 years serving the Empire, killing Jedi, oppressing the galaxy. Why would you suddenly care about me now? Because you're our daughter, Anakin says. Because we've spent every day of those 19 years making terrible choices to protect you and your brother. Because keeping you safe has been the only thing keeping us from losing ourselves completely. Leia laughs, but there's no humor in it. Protecting me? You abandoned me. You left me with strangers and went off to become monsters. Don't pretend this was some noble sacrifice. We had no choice. Padmé tries to explain. The Emperor would have sensed you, would have tried to corrupt you or kill you. Separating you from us, from Luke, was the only way to keep you hidden. There's always a choice, Leia spits. You chose power. You chose the Empire. Don't try to pretend you chose me. Obi-Wan steps beside Leia, his lightsaber igniting. I think you should leave. You're not welcome here. Anakin's hand moves to his own weapon. We're not leaving without talking to our daughter. You've had 19 years to be her parents. You forfeited that right when you murdered the Jedi and helped build an empire. Now go, before this gets violent. Please don't make me fight you, Father, Luke says suddenly, his voice strained. Master Kenobi, my parents aren't here to fight. We just want to talk, to explain. Luke, Leia, says his name like she's testing it out. If you're really my brother, if we're really connected, then help me understand. How can you stand with them? How can you defend what they are? I don't defend what they've done, but I understand why they did it. They were afraid of losing each other, afraid of losing us. Fear makes people do terrible things. That doesn't excuse those things, but it explains them. Leia studies him, and Padmé can see her daughter's analytical mind at work. She's not just emotional, she's strategic, calculating, trying to determine if this is a trap or if Luke's sincerity is genuine. You're strong in the Force, Leia finally says to Luke. I can feel it. Have they trained you? Yes. In the dark side? Some. But I've also studied the Jedi teachings. Everything I could find in the Imperial archives. I wanted to understand both sides before making my choice. And what choice did you make? I chose to be neither Jedi nor Sith. Just Luke. Just someone trying to do good in a galaxy that makes that very difficult. Leia's lightsaber lowers slightly. Tell me something only my brother would know. Something you couldn't have learned from Imperial intelligence. Luke thinks for a moment. You have a Japer snippet, a carved stone pendant. Bail gave it to you on your 10th birthday and told you it came from your mother. You keep it hidden because you're not supposed to have sentimental attachments as a Jedi in training. But you take it out sometimes when you're alone and wonder about the woman who gave it to you. Leia's weapon deactivates. How could you possibly know that? Because I feel what you feel. When you hold that pendant, when you think about our mother, I feel your longing, your curiosity, your anger at being abandoned. We're connected, Leia. And we have been since before we were born. Tears stream down Leia's face, though her expression remains hard. I have so many questions, so much I want to know, but I'm not ready to forgive. I don't know if I ever will be. We're not asking for forgiveness, Padmé says quietly. We know what we are, what we've done, but we are asking for a chance. A week. Give us 1 week to explain, to show you our side of things. And if, at the end of that week, you want nothing to do with us, we'll respect that. We'll leave you alone. Obi-Wan interrupts. Absolutely not. I won't let you take her to some imperial facility and brainwash her. She stays here, with me, where she's safe. Then you come too. Luke says, you and Leia both. Come with us to Vyun. See what we've built, what our family has been doing. And, Master Kenobi, you can be there to protect her, to make sure we don't try anything. If at any point you think she's in danger, you can take her and leave. We won't stop you. It's a trap, Obi-Wan says flatly. Obviously, it's a trap. Actually, it's not, Anakin says. And there's something in his voice that makes everyone pause. Obi-Wan, you were right about me. All those years ago on Mustafar, you said I was lost, consumed by the dark side. You were right. But my children, they're not lost. Luke has grown up surrounded by darkness and remained untouched. And Leia, she's been trained by you in the light. They represent something neither of us could achieve. Balance. Real balance. I don't want to corrupt them. I want to learn from them. Obi-Wan stares at his former apprentice, searching for deception. But Anakin's presence in the Force is steady, sincere. There's still darkness there, oceans of it, but also something else. Regret, hope, the faint glimmer of the man he used to be. 1 week, Obi-Wan finally says, but I watch over Leia every moment, and at the first sign of manipulation, of dark side influence, we're gone. Agreed. Leia looks between them all, her expression still guarded. I want to talk to Luke. Alone. Before I agree to anything. Of course, Padmé says. Take all the time you need. Luke and Leia walk away from the group, heading to the far side of the amphitheater. For a long moment, they just stand there, studying each other. Then Leia speaks. This is insane. I thought my parents were dead. Heroes who died fighting the Empire. Now I find out they're the Empire's enforcers. And I have a twin brother I never knew about. It's a lot to process. I can't imagine what you're feeling, Luke says. I grew up knowing about you, sensing you. But you didn't even know I existed until today. Tell me about them. About our parents. Not the propaganda version. The truth. Luke considers carefully. Father is intense, powerful. He has more rage inside him than anyone I've ever met. But he channels it, controls it. Mostly. He loves us. Absolutely. I've never doubted that. But I've also seen what he's capable of when someone threatens us. It's terrifying. And Mother? She's brilliant, strategic. She sees the galaxy like a game board and knows how to position every piece. But there's a coldness to her now, like she's buried her emotions so deep that sometimes I wonder if she can still feel them, except when she talks about you. Then the mask slips, and I can see how much it hurt her to give you away. She thinks about you every day. I've felt it. Does that make what they did okay? No, nothing makes it okay. They've killed people, Leia. Lots of people. They've helped build an empire that oppresses trillions. They've done things that, honestly, I don't know if I can forgive. But they're still our parents. And they're trying, in their own damaged way, to be better, or at least to keep us from becoming like them. Leia paces, working through it. Bail, my adopted father. He's a good man. He taught me about justice, about democracy, about standing up for what's right even when it's hard. If I go with you, if I meet them, I'm betraying everything he taught me. Or, Luke suggests, you're gathering intelligence, understanding your enemy. Isn't that also something he would have taught you? She smiles slightly. You're clever. I can see why they kept you. They didn't keep me because I'm clever. They kept me because I'm their son. And they sent you away because you're their daughter, because they love you. Love is supposed to protect, not abandon. I know. But sometimes people make terrible choices out of love. That doesn't make the choices right, but it makes them human. After a long silence, Leia nods. 1 week. I'll give them 1 week. But Luke, I need you to promise me something. Anything. If I'm in danger, if they try to turn me, you'll help me get out. Even if it means going against them, I promise. They return to the group, and Leia addresses her parents directly. I'll come. But this doesn't mean I forgive you. This doesn't mean I accept what you've done. I just want to understand, to see with my own eyes what kind of people would make the choices you made. That's all we ask, Padmé says, relief evident in her voice. The journey back to Vune is tense. The ship feels crowded with 5 people aboard, especially when 3 of them are barely contained bundles of resentment and complicated emotions. Obi-Wan meditates in one corner, his presence a constant reminder to Padmé of everything she's lost. Leia stays close to him, watching her biological parents with suspicion. Luke tries to bridge the gap, talking to Leia about inconsequential things. What life was like on Alderaan, what she likes to do for fun, whether she's ever piloted a ship before. Slowly, carefully, the twins begin to bond. Anakin watches from the cockpit, his hands steady on the controls, but his mind clearly elsewhere. Padmé joins him, settling into the co-pilot's seat. This is really happening. We're bringing our whole family together, for better or worse. Probably worse, Anakin says. Leia hates us. Obi-Wan wants us dead, and Luke is caught in the middle trying to make everyone get along. This could end very badly. It could, Padmé agrees, but it could also be the start of something better. A chance to break the cycle, to show them that people can change. Can we change? After everything we've done? I don't know, but maybe they can help us try. When they arrive at Vune, the planet's oppressive atmosphere hits everyone immediately. Leia's face pales as she feels the dark side energy saturating every molecule. This place is wrong. It's soaked in death and suffering. How can you live here? We chose it specifically because of that, Padmé explains. The dark side makes training easier, faster, but it also has a cost. The longer you stay, the harder it is to leave, physically and mentally. We're taking you somewhere deliberately corrupting. Obi-Wan's hand moves to his lightsaber. No one is being corrupted, Anakin says sharply. We're showing her the truth, all of it. The good and the bad. The help we've provided and the harm we've caused. If she's going to judge us, she deserves to see everything. The fortress looms over them as they land, and Padmé tries to see it through Leia's eyes. It must look like something from a nightmare. Black stone that absorbs light. Narrow windows like wounds. Architecture designed to intimidate and oppress. This is their home, and it looks like the lair of monsters, because maybe that's what they are. Inside, Padmé has prepared quarters for Obi-Wan and Leia in a section of the fortress that's relatively isolated. She's had force inhibitors installed in the walls, weakening the dark side's influence in those rooms. It's the best she can do to make the place bearable for someone trained in the light. Your rooms are this way, she says, leading them through winding corridors. You'll have complete privacy, and there's a direct route to your ship if you need to leave quickly. You've thought of everything, Obi-Wan observes. I'm trying to make this work for all of us. After they're settled, Padmé gathers everyone in what she calls the Situation Room. It's where she and Anakin plan their missions, coordinate their networks, make the decisions that affect millions of lives. The walls are covered with star charts, intelligence reports, troop movements, the physical evidence of their involvement in the Empire's operations. I want to show you what we do, Padmé begins. Not the sanitized version, not the propaganda. The actual work, the choices we make every day. Why? Leia asks. Why reveal all this? We could be recording it, using it against you, because you deserve the truth. And because, honestly, we're tired of the lies, tired of pretending we're something we're not. We've spent 19 years serving the Emperor, doing things we're not proud of. But we want you to understand it wasn't mindless. We've been building something, a network of people loyal to us, not to Palpatine. Resources we control, power we can use. Power for what? Luke asks. To overthrow the Emperor. Eventually, when the time is right, when we're strong enough to survive it. You're planning to betray him, Obi-Wan says. I knew it. You're just waiting for your moment. We've always been planning to betray him, Anakin confirms. From the day we joined him, we knew he was a threat, but we also knew we needed his protection and training to survive. So we've played along, built our strength, and waited. Waited for what? For this. For our children to be old enough to help us. For the right opportunity. For the moment when we can actually win. Over the next few days, Padmé walks Leia through everything. She shows her the intelligence network, explains how information flows through the Empire. She introduces Leia to key operatives, people who are loyal to her specifically. Some are disillusioned, Imperial officers who see the Empire's flaws. Others are agents who've been working for her since her Senate days. All of them are pieces on a game board. Padmé has been carefully arranging for years. This one, Padmé points to a file, is Governor Soren of the Malastare system. He's imperial in public, but feeds us information about troop movements and strategic priorities. He's also been quietly relocating species the Empire has marked for enslavement. Saved over 50,000 lives so far. Why does he work for you? Because I saved his daughter. She was accused of treason for speaking out against imperial policy. I made the evidence disappear and arranged for her to escape to the Outer Rim. Now he owes me. That's how this works. Leverage and loyalty. And this one? Leia asks, pointing to another name, Commander Thrax. He runs a black site prison where the Empire sends its most dangerous prisoners. Except, secretly, he's been releasing political prisoners and faking their deaths. The Empire thinks he's running a brutal facility. Actually, he's part of an underground railroad getting dissidents to safety. Leia processes this, her expression conflicted. You've been doing this for how long? Years. Since shortly after we joined the Emperor. I realized early on that if we were going to survive in the Empire, we needed our own power base. People who answered to us instead of Palpatine. So I started building it, one recruit at a time. How many people are in this network? Thousands. Maybe tens of thousands, if you count all the indirect connections. They're spread across hundreds of worlds, in every level of imperial society. The Empire thinks it's a monolith, but it's actually riddled with people working against it from within. And you control all of this? Padmé and I, yes, we coordinate it, but it's not really about control. It's about creating options. When the time comes to move against the Emperor, we'll need allies. This is how we've been building them. Leia is silent for a long time. Then she asks the question Padmé has been dreading. How many people have you killed? More than I can count. Political opponents, Jedi, anyone the Emperor saw as a threat. Some deserved it. Most didn't. I don't have an excuse for it, Leia. I did what I thought I had to do to maintain our cover and protect our family. But that doesn't make it right. And you can live with that? With all those deaths on your conscience? No, Padmé says quietly. I can't. Every face haunts me. Every name is burned into my memory. I dream about them, see them when I close my eyes. But I keep going because stopping would mean their deaths were for nothing. If I can use the power I built through their sacrifice to eventually tear down the Empire, then maybe it means something. That's a rationalization. I know, but it's the only way I can keep functioning. Leia studies her mother's face, and Padmé makes herself meet her daughter's gaze. She doesn't try to hide the pain, the guilt, the self-loathing that's become her constant companion. She lets Leia see all of it, the monster she's become, in service of love. You really believe you can overthrow the Emperor? I have to believe it. Because if I don't, if I accept that all of this suffering was for nothing, I'll lose what little humanity I have left. Meanwhile, Luke spends time with Anakin, and their conversations are equally intense. Father, why did you kill the younglings? The question comes out of nowhere, catching Anakin mid-swing during a training session. His lightsaber wavers, then deactivates. Where did you hear about that? I've read the reports, accessed the temple security footage. I needed to know what you did, why you did it. Anakin is silent for a long moment. When he finally speaks, his voice is hollow. Because the Emperor ordered it. Because I was lost in the dark side, consumed by rage and fear, because I convinced myself that eliminating all Jedi, even the children, was the only way to ensure your mother's safety. And now, I know I was wrong. The younglings weren't a threat. They were children, innocent, and I murdered them because I was too broken to see any other path. Luke processes this. Do you regret it? Every second of every day. Their faces haunt me, Luke. I see them when I sleep. When I meditate, they're always there, reminding me of what I've become. If you could go back, would you make a different choice? If I could go back, I'd never have fallen in the first place. But if you're asking whether I'd choose differently knowing what I know now, yes, I'd find another way, any other way. Even if it meant losing your mother? Luke's voice is gentle, probing. Anakin's hands clench. Don't ask me that, please, because you know the answer. And it's the wrong answer. It's always been the wrong answer. I love your mother more than life itself, more than the Force, more than the galaxy. That love has driven every terrible choice I've made. And I'd make them all again if it meant keeping her alive. That's honest, at least, Luke says. Terrible, but honest. They continue training, but the mood has shifted. Luke is quieter, more contemplative. Finally, he asks another question. When you fight, when you use the dark side, what does it feel like? Like drowning in fire. Like every emotion you've ever suppressed suddenly floods through you at once. Rage, fear, pain. It all becomes fuel, power. But it's never enough. The dark side always wants more, always demands you go further, do worse things. It's addictive. The more you use it, the more you need it. And you've been using it for 19 years. How are you not completely consumed? Because of you and Leia. Because knowing you existed, knowing I had children who might escape my mistakes, that gave me something to hold on to. An anchor. Without that, I would have become exactly what Palpatine wanted, a mindless weapon. Luke nods slowly. I've been practicing with the dark side. Just a little. In secret. I wanted to understand it. What did you find? That it's easier than the light side. Faster, more intuitive, but also emptier. When I use it, I feel powerful but also hollow, like I'm burning myself up from the inside. That's exactly what it does. The dark side is a shortcut, but it costs you pieces of your soul. Obi-Wan spends most of his time meditating, trying to maintain his connection to the light in this place soaked with darkness. But he also observes, watches how the family interacts, how Padmé and Anakin move around each other with perfect synchronization, their bond evident in every gesture, how Luke tries to build bridges between everyone, playing peacemaker, how Leia slowly, grudgingly, begins to soften toward her brother while maintaining her distance from her parents. On the fourth day, Obi-Wan seeks out Padmé. She's in her private quarters, reviewing intelligence reports. He enters without knocking, his presence announced by a deliberate cough. We need to talk. She looks up, unsurprised. I figured we would eventually. Come in, old friend. The term makes him flinch. We're not friends, Padmé. Not anymore. You saw to that on Mustafar. I know, but we were once. Doesn't that count for something? It should. But I can't reconcile the woman I knew with the monster you've become. The Padmé Amidala I remember believed in democracy. in justice, in the rule of law. You've spent 19 years destroying all of it. You're right. I have. And I can't undo that. But I can ask you to understand why. Love isn't an excuse for atrocity, I know. But sometimes it's an explanation. Obi-Wan paces, his agitation evident. Do you know what haunts me most? It's not that you fell. People fall all the time. It's that you made the conscious choice to fall. You weren't seduced or tricked. You understood exactly what you were doing, and you did it anyway, because the alternative was watching Anakin die. And I couldn't live in a galaxy without him. So you chose to damn the galaxy instead. Yes, and I'd do it again. That's what makes you irredeemable. No, Padmé says quietly. What makes me irredeemable is that I know it was wrong. I know the cost, and I still believe it was necessary. I'm not asking for your forgiveness, Obi-Wan. I don't deserve it. But I am asking you to help me make sure Leia doesn't follow my path. Make sure she stays in the light. Make sure she's better than I am. That's the only thing I have left to give. Why should I trust anything you say? You shot me. You nearly killed me. You betrayed everything we stood for. Because despite everything, you know I love my children. And that love is the one pure thing left in me. Please, Obi-Wan, help me protect her, even if it means protecting her from me. He stares at her for a long moment, searching for deception. But there's none, just exhaustion and desperate sincerity. I'll protect Leia, but not for you, for her, because she deserves better than to be caught in this cycle of darkness. Thank you. They stand in awkward silence, the weight of 19 years of choices between them. Finally, Obi-Wan asks the question he's been avoiding. Was it worth it? All of it? The lives destroyed, the empire built, the darkness you embraced? Was it worth it to keep Anakin alive? Padmé considers carefully. Ask me again when this is over, when we've either overthrown the Emperor or died trying. Then I'll be able to answer. On the 5th day, Padmé takes the entire group on a mission. There's a planet in a nearby system, Kessel, where Imperial forces have been using prisoners as slave labor in the spice mines. It's brutal, deadly work. Most prisoners don't survive more than a few months. But there's a complication. The prisoners include families, children, people guilty of nothing more than speaking against the Empire or being in the wrong place at the wrong time. This is where we're going, Padmé explains, showing them the intelligence. The facility is run by an Imperial officer who's particularly vicious. He's been selling some of the prisoners to Zygerian slavers on the side, pocketing the profits. The Emperor doesn't know, and the officer has been careful to cover his tracks. So you're going to shut it down? Leia asks. That's the plan. Quietly, we'll infiltrate the facility, eliminate the officer and his key lieutenants, and release the prisoners. Then we'll arrange for them to be picked up by a relief organization that's actually part of our network. The Empire will think it's a tragic mining accident. They'll never know it was sabotage. And the prisoners? They'll be free, hidden among populations across the galaxy, given new identities and a chance to start over. Why are you showing us this? Because I want Leia to see that we're not just Imperial enforcers. We do help people, when we can, in the ways available to us. It doesn't make up for what we've done, but it's something. The mission goes smoothly at first. They infiltrate during a shift change, their Imperial credentials getting them past security. Anakin and Padmé move through the facility with practiced efficiency, their dark side presence masked. Luke and Leia accompany them, while Obi-Wan stays with the ship as backup. The prisoners are in worse condition than the reports suggested. Emaciated, beaten, many bearing signs of torture. Leia's face goes pale when she sees them. How can you serve an empire that does this? We don't serve the empire, Padmé says coldly. We serve ourselves and use the empire as a tool. There's a difference. Is there? Yes. Because we're here, aren't we? Shutting this down, freeing these people. An actual Imperial loyalist would never risk their position for prisoners. They reach the officer's quarters and find him in the middle of negotiations with a Zygerian slave trader discussing prices for children. Anakin doesn't hesitate. His lightsaber ignites, and the officer's head rolls before anyone can react. The Zygerian reaches for his weapon, but Padmé freezes him with the Force. "Wait," she says. "I want to know who else he's working with." Names. Now. The Zygerian spits at her. "I'll tell you nothing, Sith." Wrong answer. She reaches into his mind, tearing through his mental defenses. It's brutal, invasive, and causes the Zygerian to scream in agony. But it works. She extracts the information she needs. Names, locations, connections in the slave trade network. When she's done, she releases him, and he collapses, bleeding from his nose and ears. Luke looks away, disturbed. Leia, however, watches with calculating eyes. "You didn't kill him. No point. We have what we need. And killing him would just alert his organization that something's wrong. He'll wake up in a few hours with a massive headache and no memory of what happened. By then, we'll be gone. What will you do with the information? Dismantle their network. One piece at a time. It'll take months, maybe years, but we'll cripple the slave trade in this sector. Because slavery is something both Anakin and I have personal experience with. We won't tolerate it." They free the prisoners and arrange for pickup as planned. The mining facility's destruction is staged to look like a containment failure, a tragic but believable accident. No one will investigate too closely. As they leave, Leia approaches Padmé. "That was good. What you did here. Thank you. But it doesn't change what you are, what you've done. I know. But maybe, if we do enough missions like this, it'll balance the scales a little. You can't balance scales that are measured in billions of lives." "No, I can't. But I can try." Back on Vyun, the week is almost over. On the 6th evening, Padmé gathers everyone together one last time. "Tomorrow, you decide. You can stay, learn more, maybe even join us in working against the Emperor. Or you can leave. Return to whatever life you've built. We won't stop you. But before you decide, I want to tell you something. About the Emperor. About what he's planning." She brings up a holographic display showing Project Insight, Palpatine's ultimate plan, a network of surveillance systems and automated weapons platforms that would give him complete control over the galaxy. The ability to eliminate any threat before it even materializes. We've been delaying this project for years, sabotaging the research, arranging accidents for key scientists, redirecting resources. But it's getting closer to completion every day. When it's finished, there will be no rebellion, no resistance, no hope. Just absolute imperial control forever. How do you know about this? Leia asks. Because we're his apprentices. He trusts us with his secrets. Or thinks he does. Actually, he's been using us to help develop it. That's why you're really here, Anakin says. Not just to meet us. We need help. We can't stop this alone. We need allies. People with skills, connections, force abilities. We need you. Leia laughs bitterly. So this entire week, showing us your network, taking us on missions, it was all recruitment. It was showing you the truth. Padmé counters. Yes, we need help. But we're not lying about who we are or what we've done. Everything you've seen is real. The network, the prisoners we've freed, the slave trade we're dismantling, all of it. And if you help us, you'll be part of something that could actually change the galaxy. Or destroy it completely, Obi-Wan says. If you move against the Emperor and fail, he'll wipe out everyone connected to you. Billions could die. They'll die anyway if we do nothing. At least this way, there's a chance. Luke and Leia exchange glances. The connection between the twins is almost visible. Some silent communication flowing between them. Finally, Luke speaks. I want to help, but I have conditions. Name them. I want to train with Master Kenobi. Learn the light side properly, not just the dark side techniques you've taught me. I need to understand both sides before I can choose my path. Done. What else? I want access to all your intelligence. No more secrets. If I'm going to help overthrow the Emperor, I need to know everything. Padmé hesitates. Some of our intelligence is sensitive. It could implicate people who are still deep undercover. I'll keep it confidential, but I won't work blind. After a moment, Padmé nods. Agreed. Leia speaks up. I'll help too, but I'm not staying here. I can't live in this place. It's too dark, too oppressive. I'll work from Alderaan or other safe locations. Coordinate the rebellion while you handle the Imperial side. That works. We'll need someone the rebellion trusts anyway. Most of them see us as the enemy. Someone has to bridge that gap, Leia says. It might as well be me. And me, Obi-Wan adds reluctantly. I don't trust you. I probably never will. But Luke is right. This needs to be stopped. And if working with Sith is the price, then I'll pay it. For now, Anakin extends his hand to Obi-Wan. Truce? The Jedi Master stares at the offered hand for a long moment. Then, slowly, he takes it. Truce, not friendship, not forgiveness, but we'll work together to stop Palpatine. That's all I ask. They spend the rest of the evening planning. Padmé shares intelligence on Imperial fleet movements, strategic priorities, key vulnerabilities. Luke and Leia ask questions, their tactical minds already working on how to exploit weaknesses. Obi-Wan provides insight into surviving Jedi, possible allies who might be convinced to join their cause. It's strange working together like this. 2 Sith Lords, a Jedi Master, and 2 Force-sensitive young adults who are trying to be neither. But somehow, it works. They complement each other. Padmé's strategic thinking, Anakin's raw power, Obi-Wan's wisdom, Luke's idealism, Leia's pragmatism. Together, they might actually have a chance. Over the following months, their alliance grows stronger. Luke divides his time between training with Obi-Wan and working with his parents. He learns the light side's discipline and the dark side's power, then works to find balance between them. Leia returns to Alderaan and begins quietly organizing resistance cells. She uses her status as a princess and senator to travel freely, making connections and building networks. Padmé provides intelligence and resources. Anakin eliminates targets that threaten their plans. Obi-Wan trains Luke and anyone else with force sensitivity who's willing to fight. Together, they begin to build something remarkable, a true rebellion, one that combines the rebellion's idealism with the resources and inside knowledge of Imperial insiders. But Palpatine isn't blind. He begins to notice irregularities, missions that fail for no apparent reason, intelligence leaks, projects that mysteriously stall. He grows more paranoid, more suspicious, and his suspicion eventually focuses on his apprentices. The summons comes on a cold morning on Vyun. Padmé is reviewing supply, manifests when her communicator beeps. The Emperor's face appears, withered and ancient. Lady Shadow. Lord Vader, I require your presence on Coruscant. Immediately. Of course, my master. What's the urgency? I've uncovered something interesting. A conspiracy within the Empire. Traitors working against me. I want you to help me root them out. Padmé's blood runs cold, but she keeps her voice steady. We'll leave at once. She cuts the transmission and immediately contacts Anakin. He knows. I don't know how much, but he knows. Then we move now. Before he can prepare, we go to Coruscant, but on our terms, with our allies. She sends encrypted messages to Luke, Leia, Obi-Wan, and their key operatives across the galaxy. The time has come. Either they overthrow the Emperor now, or they die trying. There's no middle ground anymore. The journey to Coruscant is tense. Their ship is loaded with weapons, supplies, and a small strike team of their most trusted operatives. Luke and Obi-Wan are aboard, having insisted on being there for the final confrontation. Leia is coordinating from Alderaan, ready to launch the rebellion publicly as soon as they make their move. When they arrive at the Imperial Palace, everything seems normal, too normal. Guards at their posts, bureaucrats hurrying through corridors, the regular business of Empire. But Padmé can feel the trap waiting. Palpatine is in his throne room, and he's not alone. They enter to find him, surrounded by his royal guard. Elite warriors trained in combat against Force users, and standing beside him is someone unexpected. Mace Windu, the Jedi Master thought dead, his face scarred, and his presence twisted with darkness. I believe you know my new apprentice, Palpatine says with a smile. Lord Windu has proven quite useful, helped me identify several traitors within our ranks. Traitors like you. Mace's eyes are cold, emotionless. The fall of the Jedi was your doing, Padmé. You and Skywalker. I've spent 19 years planning my revenge. This is impossible, Obi-Wan breathes. Mace died in the attack on the temple. He fell. No, I survived. And I've learned much in my time with Emperor Palpatine. Learned that the Jedi way was weak. That power is the only thing that matters. And now, I'll use that power to destroy you. The throne room erupts in violence. Mace attacks with brutal efficiency, his purple lightsaber a blur. He's stronger than he was as a Jedi, the dark side amplifying his already considerable abilities. Anakin moves to intercept him, their blades clashing in a shower of sparks. The royal guards engage Luke and Obi-Wan, their force pikes crackling with energy designed to resist lightsabers. And Palpatine, he sits on his throne and watches, clearly enjoying the spectacle. "Come, Lady Shadow, face me. Let's see if you've truly learned anything in all these years." Padmé advances, her red lightsaber igniting. She's not as strong as Palpatine, not as experienced, but she has something he doesn't. She has something to fight for, beyond power. The duel is intense. Palpatine fights with ancient technique refined over decades. Every movement is precise, economical, deadly. But Padmé has spent years studying his style, learning his patterns. She knows his tells, his preferences. She uses that knowledge to survive, deflecting his attacks while looking for an opening. Behind her, Anakin and Mace are locked in combat. Two masters of aggressive lightsaber forms, their duel is all power and rage. Anakin is stronger, but Mace is more controlled, channeling the dark side with the discipline he learned as a Jedi. It's a brutal stalemate. Luke and Obi-Wan work together against the guards, their contrasting styles complementing each other. Luke's raw power breaks through defenses, while Obi-Wan's precision exploits the openings. One by one, the guards fall, but more keep coming. An endless stream of elite warriors. "We can't keep this up," Luke shouts. "There are too many." "Then we don't fight them all," Obi-Wan responds. "We fight Palpatine. Everything else is a distraction." He breaks away from the guards and joins Padmé, his blue blade adding to her red one. Together, they push Palpatine back, their combined assault forcing the Emperor to actually defend. Luke sees the shift and makes a decision. He reaches deep into the Force, drawing on both light and dark. Energy crackles around him, and he unleashes it in a wave that throws the guards back, stunning them. Then he joins his mother and Obi-Wan, three Force users against the most powerful Sith Lord in the galaxy. Anakin finishes his duel with Mace, driving his lightsaber through the fallen Jedi's chest. "I'm sorry, old friend, but you chose the wrong side." He joins the others, and now it's 4 against 1. Palpatine realizes his situation, and his smile fades. "You think you've won? That killing me will change anything? The Empire will continue. My plans will proceed." "Maybe," Padmé says, "but you won't be around to see it." They attack as one, a coordinated assault that even Palpatine can't fully defend against. His Force lightning arcs out, but Luke absorbs it, channeling the energy into the ground. His lightsaber strikes, but Obi-Wan and Anakin deflect them. Padmé's blade finds his shoulder, drawing first blood. The Emperor staggers, and for the first time, fear flashes across his ancient face. He tries one more attack, gathering all his power for a final devastating burst. But as he releases it, Padmé does something unexpected. She doesn't defend. She doesn't dodge. Instead, she reaches out with the Force and channels the Emperor's own attack back at him. It's a technique she learned from studying Mace Windu's Varpad, the ability to turn an opponent's dark side energy against them. The lightning hits Palpatine with the force of a supernova, his own hatred and rage consuming him. He screams, his body convulsing, and then he simply ceases. No dramatic final words, no last curse. One moment he's there, and the next he's gone. Just ashes and the smell of ozone. The throne room falls silent, except for their heavy breathing. It's done. After 19 years of planning, of terrible choices, and darker compromises, Emperor Palpatine is dead. But their work isn't finished. Within hours, news of the Emperor's death spreads across Coruscant. Some Imperial officers try to maintain control, but Leia's rebellion launches simultaneously across the galaxy. Worlds that have been secretly preparing for this moment declare independence. Imperial fleet commanders loyal to Padmé's network stand down. And slowly, painfully, the Empire begins to fracture. The transition isn't smooth. Some regions descend into chaos as warlords try to seize power. Some Imperial officers refuse to surrender and must be removed by force. It takes weeks, then months, then years of effort. But Padmé's network holds. The intelligence she gathered, the alliances she built, the foundations she laid over 19 years of careful planning, it all pays off. They're able to create stability where there might have been chaos. A new republic begins to form, one that learns from the mistakes of the old. Padmé drafts the Constitution, drawing on her experience to create something more resilient, more accountable. Luke and Leia become the faces of this new government, young and idealistic, but backed by Padmé's strategic mind. Anakin works to demilitarize, using his influence to convince Imperial officers to stand down peacefully. Obi-Wan rebuilds the Jedi Order, but differently this time. No more taking children from their families. No more forbidding attachment. Instead, he creates an order that embraces balance, teaching both light and dark, but emphasizing choice and wisdom over strict adherence to doctrine. It's messy and imperfect, but it's progress. 5 years after Palpatine's death, the galaxy has finally stabilized. The new republic is functioning, democracy is spreading, and the war is truly over. But there's still one more thing to address: the trial. It's held on Naboo, as Leia insisted. The courtroom is packed with victims of Imperial atrocities, families of Jedi who died, survivors of worlds that were devastated, people whose lives were destroyed by the Empire that Padmé and Anakin helped build and maintain. The charges are extensive. Crimes against sentient beings, murder, conspiracy, torture. The list goes on for hours. The evidence is overwhelming, much of it provided by Padmé herself from her own records. When asked how she pleads, Padmé stands guilty to all charges. I will not insult this court or the victims by claiming I was following orders or had no choice. I made choices, terrible choices. I chose my family over the galaxy, and billions of people suffered for it. I have no defense, no justification, only guilt and regret. Anakin's plea is identical. He doesn't try to excuse his actions or minimize his role. He simply accepts responsibility. The judges deliberate for 3 days. During that time, Luke and Leia testify, not in defense of their parents' actions, but to provide context, to explain the network that was built, the people who were saved, the eventual overthrow of the Emperor. It doesn't excuse anything, Leia says, but it should be part of the record. They weren't just monsters. They were complicated, flawed people who made monstrous choices for human reasons. In the end, the verdict is guilty on almost all counts. The sentence is life imprisonment on separate worlds, cut off from each other and from the Force through inhibitor technology. Some in the court call for execution, but Luke and Leia intervene. Enough people have died. Let them live with what they've done. Let them spend their remaining years trying to make amends in whatever small ways they can. The day before they're separated, Padmé and Anakin stand together one last time in a holding cell. No guards, no observers, just the two of them, and the weight of 19 years of choices. Was it worth it? Anakin asks. All of it? Padmé thinks about everything they've done, the people they've killed, the suffering they've caused, the darkness they embraced. But she also thinks about Luke and Leia, alive and strong and building something better, about the Emperor defeated and the galaxy slowly healing, about having loved and been loved absolutely, even in the darkest times. I don't know, she finally says. Ask me again in another life, when we can see the full consequences of our choices. But right now, in this moment, I'm grateful. Grateful we survived. Grateful our children survived. Grateful that something good might come from all this darkness. He pulls her close, and they stand together, memorizing the feel of each other. Tomorrow, they'll be separated. Tomorrow, they'll begin serving their sentences in isolation. But tonight, they're together. And that has to be enough. The next morning, they're taken to separate transports. Padmé is sent to a remote world in the Outer Rim, a place of mountains and forests. Her cell is small, but has windows that look out on natural beauty. The Force inhibitor is a constant pressure, cutting her off from the energy that's been part of her life for nearly 2 decades. It's like losing a sense, going partially blind and deaf. But there are compensations: books, writing materials, the ability to work on political theory and philosophy. And once a month, Luke and Leia visit. They tell her about the galaxy, about progress being made. They ask her advice and actually listen to her answers. They bring their children eventually, grandchildren. Padmé never thought she'd meet. It's not the life she imagined, but it's a life. 15 years pass. Padmé grows old in her cell, her hair turning white, her body weakening. She writes extensively, documenting everything she did and why, creating a record for future generations. She corresponds with historians, helping them understand the Empire's inner workings. She advises senators through Luke and Leia, her strategic mind still sharp even if her body is failing. And she thinks about Anakin, wondering how he's doing in his own cell on the other side of the galaxy. Whether he's found any peace, whether he thinks about her as much as she thinks about him. Then one day, Luke and Leia visit with news. The Senate has voted. After 15 years of good behavior, of cooperation, of genuine attempts to make amends, they're granting parole, conditional release with monitoring, but release nonetheless. We need you, Leia explains, both of you. There are still Imperial holdouts, still systems that haven't fully transitioned. Your experience, Your knowledge of Imperial operations could help bring them into the fold peacefully. And honestly, Luke adds, we need your advice. Governing is hard. We make mistakes. Having you around, even with all your baggage, helps. They take her to a small apartment on Naboo, near the lake country where she and Anakin first fell in love. The place is modest, comfortable, with a view of the water. And there, waiting for her on the balcony, is Anakin. He's aged as well, his hair white, and his face deeply lined. The years have been hard on him, but when he sees her, his face lights up with joy and relief and love. Hello, Padmé. Hello, Anakin. They embrace. And for the first time in 15 years, she feels complete. Not forgiven, not redeemed. The blood on their hands will never wash away, but no longer alone. Together, they work with the New Republic. They help negotiate with holdout Imperial systems, using their knowledge of Imperial command structure and psychology. They consult on security matters. Their understanding of how the Empire functioned, proving invaluable. They teach Luke and Leia everything they know about politics, strategy, and the dangers of accumulating too much power. It's quiet work, unglamorous. Nothing like their years as Sith Lords or their time-building secret networks. But it's meaningful. They help people. They prevent conflicts. They use their knowledge of darkness to help others avoid it. And slowly, painfully, they begin to find something resembling peace. One evening, Padmé sits by the lake, watching the sunset. Anakin joins her, settling onto the bench beside her. Their children and grandchildren are visiting, the sounds of laughter drifting from the house. Do you regret it? Anakin asks. Any of it? The same question he asked 15 years ago. But now, Padmé has an answer. Yes and no. I regret the people we killed, the suffering we caused, the darkness we embraced. But I don't regret loving you. Don't regret fighting to keep us together. Love shouldn't require darkness. I know, but our love did. And I can't change that. Can't pretend it didn't. All I can do is acknowledge the truth and try to do better with whatever time I have left. They sit in silence, watching the sun paint the sky in shades of red and gold. In the distance, Luke is teaching his children to use the Force, demonstrating techniques that blend light and dark. Leia is arguing with Bail Organa's grandson about policy, her passion for justice undimmed. Their legacy is complicated. A galaxy saved through methods that nearly damned it. A family held together through choices that destroyed countless other families. But it's a legacy that includes these moments too. This peace, this hope, these children who are building something better. I love you, Anakin says quietly. I know, Padmé responds. And that's enough. It has to be enough. Because love, even the kind that drives people to darkness, even the kind that costs billions of lives, even the kind that history will judge as monstrous, is still real, still powerful, still the thing that makes them human despite everything. They watch the sunset together. Two people who fell from grace but found each other in the darkness. Two people who paid a terrible price for their choices but never regretted the love that drove them. Two people who are neither heroes nor villains, but something far more complicated, human, flawed, trying their best in an impossible situation. And sometimes, that's all anyone can be. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. They travel to Tatooine in secret, without alerting Palpatine. Luke accompanies them, insistent that he needs to come. Padmé tries to argue, but he's not a child anymore. He's a young man, powerful in the Force, and determined to understand his place in the galaxy. The journey takes several days, and Padmé uses the time to prepare herself mentally for what's coming. She's going to see Obi-Wan again, the man she shot, the man who watched her fall to the dark side. What will he see when he looks at her now? The idealistic young queen he once knew, or the monster she's become? They arrive at Tatooine under the cover of night, their ship's signature masked by Imperial technology. Padmé reaches out with the Force, searching for the presence described in the report, and she finds it, burning bright in the darkness. A presence she recognizes because she's felt it before, in her dreams, in the connection she maintains with her daughter, Leia. "No," she gasps. "It can't be." "What?" Anakin demands. "What do you sense?" "It's her. It's Leia. She's the one Obi-Wan has been training." "But how?" "She's supposed to be on Alderaan. Safe. Hidden. Something must have happened. Something that led Obi-Wan to her. Or led her to him. They need to find out what, and fast. They track the presence to the Jundland Wastes, to a region of sandstone cliffs and deep ravines. There, they find signs of recent combat, scorch marks on the rocks, discarded power cells from blasters. And in the center of a natural amphitheater, two figures training with lightsabers. One is Obi-Wan Kenobi, aged by nearly 2 decades, but still recognizable. His hair is white now, his face lined with years of hardship, but his movements are still graceful, still precise, still unmistakably Jedi. The other is a young woman, her dark hair pulled back, her stance defensive but strong. Padmé would know her anywhere. She has Padmé's face, her father's eyes, Leia, her daughter, the daughter she sent away to keep safe, the daughter who's now being trained by the man who tried to kill her father. The three of them, Padmé, Anakin, and Luke, emerge from their hiding spot. Obi-Wan senses them first. His lightsaber ignites, and he steps in front of Leia, protectively. The girl's eyes widen as she takes in the 3 figures approaching. Her gaze locks on Luke, and Padmé can feel the recognition flowing between the twins even though they've never met. "That's far enough," Obi-Wan says, his voice aged, but still strong. "I won't let you take her." Anakin ignites his own lightsaber, the red blade casting bloody shadows across the sand. "We're not here to fight, old man. We're here for answers. Who are you?" Leia demands, her hand moving to her own weapon. Luke takes a step forward, his presence in the Force reaching out to her. "I'm your brother. I'm Luke." Leia's face goes pale. Her eyes dart from Luke to Anakin to Padmé. "No. Ben said my parents were dead, murdered, by the Empire. He lied to protect you, Padmé says, her voice breaking, just as I lied when I sent you away. Leia, I'm your mother, and he, she gestures to Anakin, is your father. The girl's hand goes to her lightsaber. You're lying. You're Imperial commanders. You've killed hundreds of Jedi, thousands of innocents. You destroyed everything the Republic stood for. We did what we had to do to survive, Anakin says flatly. To protect what's ours. And you are ours, Leia. Our daughter. Come with us. Leia's lightsaber ignites, yellow and bright, over my dead body. Obi-Wan, his expression pained, steps beside her. You won't take her. I failed Anakin. I won't fail his daughter too. You failed me the moment you tried to kill me, old man. You were killing children, Anakin. Innocent children who trusted you. I had no choice. You always have a choice. I made mine on Mustafar. You made yours. Now we live with the consequences. The standoff is broken by Luke, who steps between the two groups, his hands raised. Please, all of you, this doesn't have to end in violence. Leia stares at him. How can you stand with them? With murderers? Because they're our parents. And because, whatever else they are, they love us. I've felt it my entire life. The weight of their love and their fear. It doesn't excuse what they've done, but it explains it. Leia looks at Padmé, really looks at her, and Padmé can see her daughter taking in every detail. The dark robes, the lightsaber at her hip, the hardness in her eyes that wasn't there in the old holo images Bail must have shown her. You gave me away, Leia says. You gave me to strangers and kept my brother. Why? Because having both of you with us would have been too dangerous. The Emperor would have sensed you, would have tried to corrupt you both. I couldn't let that happen to both of my children. So you chose Luke over me. No, Padmé says desperately. I chose to save you both the only way I could. Bail Organa is a good man. He raised you with love, didn't he? He gave you a life I couldn't. Yes, Leia admits. He did. But that doesn't change what you are, what you've become. I know, and I don't expect your forgiveness. But I need you to understand. Everything I've done, every terrible choice I've made, it was to ensure you and Luke survived, that you'd have a chance at a life, even if I didn't. Obi-Wan interrupts. Noble words from someone who spent years hunting down and murdering my fellow Jedi. Tell me, Padmé, how many children have died by your hand? How many families have you destroyed in service to the Empire? Padmé falters. She knows the answer. She's kept count in her darkest moments. Dozens, perhaps hundreds, if you count the people affected by her political machinations. Too many, far too many. And you expect Leia to just accept that? To forgive you because you claim it was all for her? I don't expect anything, Padmé says quietly. I know what I am, but I'm offering her a choice. Come with us. See what we've built. Meet your brother properly. Learn about your heritage. And if, after all that, you still want to oppose us, we'll let you go. Obi-Wan shakes his head. Don't listen to them, Leia. It's a trap. They'll try to turn you to the dark side. They'll corrupt you like they corrupted themselves. Padmé meets Obi-Wan's eyes. Do you really think I'd hurt my own daughter? You've hurt countless daughters and sons. Why should yours be different? Because she's mine. Because I spent 19 years making terrible choices to keep her safe. Because I will burn this entire galaxy down before I let anyone harm her. Even you, Obi-Wan. Even if it means killing my old friend. The tension is thick enough to cut. Padmé can feel Anakin preparing to strike. If Obi-Wan makes a move, can feel Obi-Wan ready to defend Leia with his life. And in the middle, Luke and Leia, twin flames in the Force, staring at each other across an impossible divide. Finally, Leia speaks. 1 week. You get 1 week to convince me, but I'm not going alone. Luke can come with me to meet Master Kenobi properly, and I'll go with you to see whatever it is you want to show me. We do this together, or we don't do it at all. Anakin looks like he wants to argue, but Padmé stops him. Agreed. 1 week, Obi-Wan and Luke can come with us, and you'll see what the Empire has built, what we've built. And at the end of that week, if you still want to leave, we'll honor that. Leia looks at Obi-Wan, and some silent communication passes between them. The old Jedi finally nods. Very well, but I will be watching. And if I sense any attempt to manipulate her, to use the dark side on her, I will act. Understood. They travel together to Vyun, the ship filled with awkward silence. Luke tries several times to talk to Leia, but she's cold and distant. She sits with Obi-Wan, the two of them meditating together, pointedly ignoring the rest of the ship's occupants. Padmé watches her daughter and feels her heart breaking. This isn't how she imagined their reunion. She dreamed, foolishly, that Leia might be happy to meet her, might understand why she made the choices she did. But the reality is much harsher. When they arrive at Vyun, the fortress looms over them like a monument to darkness. Leia's face is pale as they descend, and Padmé can feel her daughter's distress through the Force. This place is wrong. It's soaked in death and suffering. I know, Padmé says quietly, but it's also where we've been surviving for the last 19 years, where we've been planning. Come, let me show you what we've accomplished. Over the next few days, Padmé takes Leia through the fortress and beyond. She shows her the secure communication networks she's built, the intelligence-gathering operation that spans the galaxy. She introduces Leia to the people she's helped, former slaves who now have protection under laws she helped draft, worlds that were ravaged by pirates and now thrive under Imperial security. She shows Leia the schools and hospitals built with Imperial funding, the infrastructure projects that have connected remote systems to trade routes, but she also shows her the truth. The prison levels where political dissidents are held, the interrogation chambers where enemies of the Empire are broken, the records of planets that resisted Imperial rule and were devastated as examples. She doesn't hide the darkness. She can't. Leia is smart enough to see through any attempt at manipulation. Instead, she lays it all bare and asks her daughter to understand the impossible choices she's made. This is madness, Leia says, after touring a factory that produces weapons for the Imperial military. You're feeding the machine that oppresses the galaxy. And claiming you're helping people? We are helping people, Padmé insists. The galaxy was tearing itself apart during the Clone Wars. Entire sectors were devastated. Billions died. At least now there's order. At least there's stability. Stability built on fear and oppression. Would you rather have chaos? Would you rather have warlords and pirates controlling trade routes? Would you rather have another war that kills billions more? Leia turns to face her mother fully. I'd rather have freedom. I'd rather have a republic where people have a say in their government, where justice means something other than the Emperor's will. That republic failed, Leia. I watched it fail. I served it for years, trying to make it work, and it couldn't. It was too corrupt, too inefficient. So you decided tyranny was better? I decided that my family's survival was more important than my ideals. And I would make that choice again, every time. Leia's expression softened slightly, and for a moment, Padmé sees understanding in her daughter's eyes. But then, it hardens again. That's the tragedy, isn't it? You think you're protecting us, but you've just made the galaxy a more dangerous place. What happens when the Emperor decides Luke and I are threats? What happens when he wants us eliminated? He won't, Anakin says, entering the conversation. He doesn't know about you. Only Luke. And Luke is under our protection, as you would be if you stayed. I don't want your protection if it comes with this. Leia gestures around at the fortress, at everything it represents. Meanwhile, Luke and Obi-Wan spend their time together, and their conversations are equally tense. Obi-Wan tells Luke about Anakin before his fall, about the hero he was during the Clone Wars. He tells him about the Jedi Order, about what it meant to serve the light side of the Force. And Luke listens, hungry for knowledge about a world he never knew. But he also defends his parents. You say my father was a hero once, but the Jedi forbade him from loving my mother. They took him from his mother as a child and never let him see her again. They failed him long before he failed them. The Jedi Order had its flaws, Obi-Wan admits. I won't deny that. But what Anakin became, what your parents have done, that goes beyond reacting to the Jedi's failures. They've embraced the dark side. They've killed innocents. They've helped build an empire that crushes freedom across the galaxy. And they did it to survive, Luke argues, to protect each other. Is that not a goal worth fighting for? Not when the cost is measured in billions of lives. Not when the price is the freedom of the entire galaxy. Luke falls silent, considering. He's grown up around darkness his entire life, but he's never been fully comfortable with it. There's always been a part of him that questions, that wonders if there might be a better way. Training with Obi-Wan, even for just a few days, shows him what that better way might look like. The week passes in tense discussions and uncomfortable revelations. Luke and Leia spend time together, awkward at first but slowly bonding. They're twins, and that connection is undeniable even when they disagree about everything else. On the final evening, as the deadline approaches, Padmé finds Leia standing on one of the fortress's balconies, watching the acidic rain fall. I need to know something, Leia says, without turning around. If I leave, if I refuse to join you, will you really let me go? Yes. Luke appears beside them. I need to know too, because I'm thinking about going with her. Padmé's heart clenches. Luke, you can't. This is your home. This is where you're safe. Is it? Or is it just a different kind of prison? I've been thinking about everything Master Obi-Wan told me. About the Jedi, about what they stood for, about the light side of the Force. And I want to learn more. I want to understand both sides before I make my choice about who I want to be. Anakin joins them, his presence dark and heavy. You would abandon us? Abandon your mother? After everything we've done to protect you? I'm not abandoning you. I'm just trying to find my own path. Maybe it leads back here. Maybe it doesn't. But I need to figure that out for myself. The four of them stand in silence, a family divided by choices and consequences. Padmé knows she should argue, should try to convince Luke to stay. But looking at both of her children, she sees the determination in their eyes. They're so much like her, she realizes. Stubborn, idealistic, unwilling to compromise on what they believe is right. How can she fault them for being what she raised them to be? All right, she says finally. You can go, both of you. We'll honor our promise. But, and her voice breaks, please be careful. The galaxy is dangerous, and there are forces at work that you don't understand yet. Forces that will see you as threats or tools. We'll be careful, Leia says. And Mother, thank you for giving me to the Organas. They were good parents. They taught me to fight for what's right. I wish. Padmé starts, then stops. What do you wish? That things had been different, that we could have raised you together, that I could have been the mother you deserved instead of this. She gestures at herself, at her dark robes, and the lightsaber at her hip. You did the best you could with an impossible situation. Leia says carefully, I don't agree with your choices, but I understand that you thought you had no other option. Maybe that understanding can be enough for now. Luke hugs Padmé tightly. I love you, both of you, and I will come back. When I'm ready, when I understand who I am, we'll come back. The next morning, they watch as Luke and Leia board a ship with Obi-Wan. The old Jedi looks at Padmé one last time before leaving. You've lost them, he says, just like you lost yourself. Maybe, Padmé replies. Or maybe I've given them the chance to be better than I am. That's all any parent can hope for. The ship lifts off, and Padmé watches it disappear into the toxic sky of Vyun. Anakin stands beside her, his hand finding hers. What do we do now? Now, we do what we've always done. We survive. We build our power. And we prepare for the day when they come back. Because they will come back. Anakin. And when they do, we need to be ready. Ready for what? To choose. Between the Empire and our children. Between power and family. Because I don't think we'll be able to keep both much longer. He doesn't respond, but his grip on her hand tightens. They stand together, watching the storm rage around their fortress. Two people bound by darkness and love, waiting for the future to arrive. Weeks pass, then months. Padmé and Anakin continue their work for the Empire. But something has changed. Luke and Leia's departure has created a void that nothing can fill. Padmé throws herself into her political machinations, building networks and consolidating power. But at night, when she's alone, she thinks about her children, wonders where they are, what they're learning, whether they're safe. Then, the day she's been dreading arrives. A transmission from Palpatine, a summons to Coruscant. He knows something. She can feel it. They travel to the Imperial Palace, and Palpatine is waiting in his throne room. "My dear apprentices," he says, his voice dripping with false warmth. "I've been hearing such interesting reports. It seems there's been Jedi activity in the Outer Rim. A young man and a young woman training together. Force, sensitive, powerful, and bearing a striking resemblance to both of you. How curious." Padmé and Anakin exchange glances. There's no point in denying it. Palpatine has always been too clever for simple deception. "There are children," Padmé says. "Luke and Leia. I hid Leia after birth and kept Luke with us. They've made their own choices, chosen a different path. And you let them go?" Palpatine's voice drips with false curiosity. "After all the years of training, after all the power I granted you, you simply allowed two potential threats to the Empire to walk away. They're not threats. They're children. They are Skywalkers," Palpatine corrects, "which makes them the most dangerous beings in the galaxy besides yourselves. And now they're being trained by a Jedi Master. Tell me, do you truly believe they won't eventually come for you? Come for the Empire? We can deal with that if it happens," Anakin says. "But we won't hunt our own children. Not even for you." "Oh, I wouldn't expect you to," Palpatine says smoothly. "No, I'll handle this personally. Consider it a gift. I'll eliminate your little problem before it grows into something that could threaten us all." "You'll do no such thing." Padmé steps forward, her hand moving to her lightsaber. "Touch my children, and Empire or no Empire, I will kill you." Palpatine's laughter echoes through the throne room. "There it is. The fire I saw in you on Mustafar. I've been waiting for this moment, Lady Shadow. Waiting for you to finally show your true loyalties. You've been planning this for years, haven't you? Building your networks, your power base. Using the Empire to make yourself strong enough to challenge me. I've been planning to survive. Nothing more. Survival requires power, and power attracts ambition. You're ambitious, my dear. I recognized it from the start. It's why I chose to train you. But I see now that your ambition is not for yourself, but for your family. And that, I'm afraid, is a weakness I cannot allow." He rises from his throne, Force lightning crackling around his fingertips. "Lord Vader, you will stand aside. This is between Lady Shadow and myself." "No." Anakin ignites his lightsaber. "We stand together, always." Palpatine's smile fades. "Then you're both fools, and you'll die together." The throne room erupts in violence. Palpatine unleashes a torrent of Force lightning that would kill most beings instantly. But Padmé and Anakin are ready. They've been ready for years, preparing for this moment, even if they didn't consciously acknowledge it. Their lightsabers snap up, deflecting the lightning. The energy crackles and arcs across the room, scorching the walls and floor. Anakin charges forward, while Padmé circles to the side, their coordination perfect. They've fought together for years, know each other's rhythms and patterns intimately. Palpatine is faster than either of them individually, his ancient knowledge of the Force making him devastating. He parries Anakin's strikes with contemptuous ease, then redirects a wave of Force energy at Padmé that sends her crashing into a pillar. But they don't stay down. They can't afford to. This is for their children, for their future.
Padmé pushes herself up, blood trickling from her temple, and reaches out with the Force. She spent years studying Palpatine's techniques, learning how he manipulates the darkness. Now she uses that knowledge against him. She creates a Force barrier that disrupts his lightning, giving Anakin an opening. Anakin's lightsaber slashes across Palpatine's robes, drawing first blood. The Emperor hisses in pain and rage, then unleashes his full power. The throne room begins to shake. Walls crack and ceiling tiles fall. The sheer magnitude of dark side energy is overwhelming, pressing down on them like a physical weight. But Padmé and Anakin hold firm. They draw on their love for each other, for their children, and let it fuel them. Palpatine realizes his mistake too late. He trained them too well, gave them too much power, and underestimated the strength of their bond. Anakin's lightsaber finds his shoulder, while Padmé's blade slashes across his side. The Emperor staggers, his ancient body finally showing its limitations. As he falls, he unleashes one final attack, a wave of pure dark side energy that tears through the throne room. Padmé feels it hit her like a hammer, feels her connection to the Force waver and fade. She collapses, her body broken, her mind foggy with pain. Through fading vision, she sees Anakin standing over Palpatine's body, his lightsaber raised for the killing blow. She sees her husband, the man she loves, make the choice she's been hoping he'd make for 19 years. He deactivates his lightsaber. He lets Palpatine live, but only barely. The Emperor is broken, his power shattered, his body a twisted ruin. He'll never threaten anyone again. Anakin rushes to Padmé, gathering her in his arms. Medical droids are summoned. The Imperial Guard, shocked by what they've witnessed, stand frozen, unsure whose orders to follow. And in that chaos, a transmission arrives. Luke and Leia, having felt the disturbance in the Force, are coming to Coruscant. Padmé drifts in and out of consciousness over the following hours. She's aware of medical procedures, of Anakin's voice pleading with the droids to save her. She's aware of Imperial forces gathering, uncertain about the power vacuum Palpatine's fall has created. And she's aware of two bright presences approaching. Her children. They arrive in the medical bay where Padmé lies. Luke and Leia, now truly reunited, rush to her side. Obi-Wan follows more slowly, his expression unreadable. "Mother!" Leia gasps. "What happened?" "We challenged the Emperor," Padmé whispers. "For you to stop him from hunting you. You could have died," Luke says, his eyes wet with tears. "I would have, gladly, if it meant you were safe." Obi-Wan steps forward. She's dying. The Emperor's attack damaged her connection to the Force. Without it, her body is failing. "Unless," Anakin looks at him sharply. "Unless what?" "Unless we heal her. Together. Light and dark. Jedi and Sith. It's never been done, but the Force responds to intention. If we all focus on saving her, if we combine our strength, it might work." "It will work," Luke says firmly. "It has to." Leia nods, taking her mother's hand. They form a circle around Padmé's bed. Anakin and Obi-Wan put aside decades of hatred and pain. Luke and Leia, barely trained but powerful, add their strength, and Padmé feels it. The Force flowing through her, not dark or light, but something in between,
something balanced. The healing energy knits her broken body back together, restores her connection to the Force. It's not complete. She'll never be as powerful as she was, but she'll live. And sometimes, that's enough. When she wakes fully, the first thing she sees is her entire family surrounding her. Anakin holding one hand, Leia the other. Luke and Obi-Wan standing at the foot of the bed. A family, broken and damaged, but still together. What happens now? She asks. Now, Obi-Wan says carefully, we deal with the Empire. Palpatine is alive, but powerless. The Imperial structure is in chaos. This is our chance to change things, to create something better. Padmé looks at Anakin. We could run. Take Luke and Leia somewhere far away. Build a life, finally free from all of this. He's tempted. She can see it, but he shakes his head. We broke the galaxy. We should help fix it. She knows he's right. They've spent years enabling tyranny. The least they can do is try to dismantle it. But not alone. With our children, she says, and with Obi-Wan. Together, maybe we can build something that actually works this time. The transition is brutal and complicated. Padmé uses her networks to begin dismantling the Imperial war machine. Anakin uses his reputation and power to prevent military commanders from seizing control. Luke and Leia, acting as intermediaries, convince worlds to return to something like democratic rule. And Obi-Wan, he provides the moral compass they all desperately need. It takes months, years. Some regions descend into chaos. Warlords emerge, trying to carve out their own territories. But slowly, painfully, a new republic begins to form. Not the corrupt, inefficient system that failed before, but something leaner, stronger, more accountable. Padmé drafts the new constitution. Anakin enforces it when necessary. Luke and Leia become senators, representing the new generation. And together, they build something that might actually last. But there's still a reckoning to be faced. One evening, Leia approaches Padmé with a proposal. You need to stand trial for what you've done, for the people you've killed, the systems you've helped oppress. If this new republic means anything, it has to mean justice for everyone, even us. Padmé has known this was coming. She's spent years trying to atone, but she knows it's not enough. All right, she says, I'll stand trial. I'll face judgment for everything I've done. What about Father? He stands trial too, if he's willing. Anakin, overhearing, nods slowly. If it means Luke and Leia have a chance at a real future, a galaxy where justice actually means something, then yes, I'll face judgment. The trial is held on Naboo, Padmé's homeworld. It's fitting, somehow, that she returned to where her political career began to answer for how it ended. The courtroom is packed. Victims of Imperial atrocities, families of Jedi who were killed. People whose worlds were devastated by decisions Padmé and Anakin helped implement. The evidence against them is overwhelming. Records of executions they carried out, planets they helped subjugate, political opponents they eliminated. The list seems endless, each crime building on the last, until the weight of it all seems insurmountable. When asked to defend herself, Padmé stands. I can't, she says. I can't defend what I did because it was indefensible.
I made choices based on fear. Fear of losing my husband. Fear of my children being harmed. Fear that the chaos of the Republic's fall would destroy everything I loved. And in trying to protect my family, I helped destroy countless other families. She pauses, her voice breaking. I have no excuse. I chose my family over the galaxy, and billions of people paid the price for that choice. All I can say is that I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And I will spend whatever time I have left trying to make amends. Even though I know I never can, the judges deliberate for 3 days. In the end, they find both Padmé and Anakin guilty on multiple counts. The sentence is life imprisonment on separate worlds, isolated from each other and from the Force through special inhibitor technology. No power, no influence, just time to contemplate their actions. As they're led away, Luke and Leia are there to say goodbye. Will we see you again? Luke asks. Perhaps, Padmé says, if the courts allow visitation. If you want to see us, we will, Leia promises. You're still our parents. We don't forgive you for what you did, but we understand why you did it. And maybe, someday, we can build something new from all of this. Padmé hugs both of her children, memorizing the feel of them in her arms. Take care of each other, and take care of the galaxy we couldn't. They watch as their parents are taken to separate transports. Anakin gives Padmé one last look, and in his eyes, she sees love and regret and acceptance. Then he's gone, and she's alone with her guards. The prison world they take her to is remote and barren. Her cell is small but not uncomfortable. The Force inhibitor around her neck is a constant, dull pressure. But there are books, and she's allowed to work on political theory that might help the new Republic. And once a month, Luke and Leia visit. They tell her about the galaxy, about the progress being made. They ask her advice on political situations and actually listen to her answers. It's not the life she imagined, but it's a life, and it's more than she deserves. Years pass. Padmé grows old in her cell, her hair turning gray, her body weakening. But her mind stays sharp, and her connection to her children, even through the Force inhibitor, remains strong. Then, one day, Luke and Leia visit with news. The Senate has voted. After 15 years, they're granting her and Anakin parole. Conditional release, with restrictions, but release nonetheless. They want you to help, Leia explains. There are still Imperial holdouts, still systems that haven't fully transitioned. They think your experience, your knowledge, could help bring them into the fold peacefully. She's skeptical but agrees. What else does she have? They take her to a small apartment on Naboo, near the lake, where she and Anakin first confessed their love. And there, waiting for her, is her husband. He's aged as well, his body bearing the scars of their choices. But when he sees her, his face lights up. Hello, Padmé. Hello, Anakin. They embrace, and for the first time in 15 years, she feels complete. Not forgiven, not redeemed, but no longer alone. Together, they work with the new Republic. They help negotiate with holdout systems. They use their knowledge of Imperial infrastructure to dismantle it peacefully. They teach Luke and Leia everything they know about politics, power, and how easily both can corrupt. It's not enough.
It will never be enough to make up for what they did, but it's something. It's a start. And sometimes, a start is all you can ask for. On quiet evenings, Padmé sits by the lake with Anakin, watching the sunset. "Do you regret it?" he asks. "Any of it?" "Every day," she says. "But I'd make the same choices again if it meant keeping you and our children alive. That makes me a monster. I know. You're my monster," he says, pulling her close. "And I'm yours. And maybe that's all we can be. But at least we're together." She rests her head on his shoulder and watches the sun sink below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of red and gold. In the distance, she can hear laughter. Luke and Leia, visiting with their own families now. Grandchildren who will never know the darkness their grandparents embraced, who will grow up in a galaxy slowly healing from decades of war and tyranny. It's not redemption. Padmé knows she'll never truly be redeemed. The people she killed stay dead. The families she destroyed remain broken. The galaxy bears the scars of her choices and will for generations. But it's something. It's the knowledge that her children are safe, that they're building something better, that maybe, just maybe, her sacrifices weren't entirely in vain. And for now, in this moment, watching the sunset, with the man she loves despite everything, that has to be enough.